starry skies above. Don't fence me in. Let me ride through the wide open country that I love. Don't fence me in. Let me be by myself in the evening breeze. Listen to the murmur of the cottonwood trees. Send me off forever, but I ask you please. Don't fence me in. Don't fence me in. Just turn me loose, let me straddle my old saddle underneath the western skies. On my cayuse, let me wander over yonder till I see the mountains rise. I want to ride to the ridge where the west commences, gaze at the moon until I lose my senses. I can't look at hovels and I can't stand fences. Don't fence me in. Don't fence me in.
Good morning this morning, everybody. Good morning this morning. Good morning. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Happy Thursday to all of you, and welcome to 1380 105.3 The Answer and the Allman in the Morning Show. It's Common Sense Radio, and you can watch the entire production there on the video screen at theanswerstl.com if y'all want to. And you can call me, too, at the Tammy.com real estate listener line at 844-855-1380. And, man, it's hard to keep up with all of the revelations of the liberal lies out there. I don't know about you, but were you shocked to learn that so many people are crossing the border and that, in fact, the border is reaching record numbers of individuals who are illegally trying to enter? 3 times the illegal immigration of 2017 levels at the current rate. 3 times the illegal immigration numbers from just 2 years ago. 3 times. Now keep in mind, that doesn't surprise me at all, and has been basically the case we've been making for this many months regarding the emergency declaration. But every time we talked about the emergency declaration, or even for that matter, closing the border or doing whatever, or turning the caravans away, we were told that immigration wasn't a problem. Remember, you know that, right? I mean, you heard people say that. Or was I just seeing something? Or I'm telling you, that's all they talked about, was the fact that border apprehensions are at all-time high and we don't have a problem, right?
That's right.
I mean, I'm telling you, I was watching all this and seeing all this, and I know I wasn't dreaming it, but once again, it's another narrative where we now know that the left-wing emperor has no clothes. It's a lie. The people are crossing the border like crazy, and it is an emergency. And what are the Republicans going to say who are voting against this, who I believe now they have no reason to oppose the president on this matter and shouldn't, and should pay for it if they do. That's just the way it is. And keep an eye on the Republicans who are opposing the president. These are not just, the usual suspects, Susan Collins and the rest of those people who are useless Republicans. Keep an eye on who's opposing the president on this emergency declaration, even in the wake of this news. But yeah, once again, the emperor has no clothes in the left wing. It's kind of like when they spent so much time. Remember, they spent so much time, and Phil, correct me if I'm wrong on this one. I was hearing for about 5 months there that President Trump was anti-Semitic. I know I heard that. I know that was told to me by the news and by the 10-member panels on CNN that got together. I was told that President Trump was anti-Semitic. Remember, President Trump had to say, hey, I've got a Jewish son-in-law and Jewish grandchildren. Remember all that? Yeah.
I do, Jerry.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Yep.
So but it was still Trump who was anti-Semitic. I still can't figure out why they called him that. They just kind of did. I can't remember what he did to engender the anti-Semitic accusation. And yet now it turns out that girl wonder there, Ocasio-Cortez, and her accomplice young left-wingers seemingly are as anti-Semitic as the day is long. There are very few people who talk about Israel the way these individuals have talked about Israel. And keep in mind, this Omar chick, this isn't the first time that she's made insinuations and brought up the usual tropes regarding the Jews and Israel and everything else. This isn't the first time. I mean, she's been basically on this bandwagon for quite some time now. And now she's got all these other people who are supporting her in her viewpoint about this. And now it's the left wing of the party versus, well, the other left wing of the party. Because to describe Nancy Pelosi as centrist would be ridiculous anyway. So I'm not going to let them off the hook there. So it's just a civil war between the left. They're all left. I don't know why we continue to try to fool ourselves and gloss over the fact that the Democratic Party is far left. And it's just an Ocasio-Cortez and Tlaib and some of the others are just way kooky, crazy. And so now it turns out that they need to gloss over the whole Ocasio-Cortez. We don't want to single her out. That would be mean. Boy, I'll tell you what, talk about minority privilege. Oh, that's the other thing. I've been hearing about white privilege for a long time now. But I'm seeing people like Jussie Smollett given the privilege of absolutely being believed to the point where we were on the verge of race wars until finally he's busted. And then even then, I told you that story was going to go away. You'll never hear about Jussie Smollett again. And then we see that they decide, well, we're just going to water down this resolution and make it about all bigotry. That's how these people are falling all over themselves to coddle Omar because she's a minority. So you talk about privilege. I'm seeing that up there in D.C. right now. They're handling Omar with kid gloves because they don't want to offend anybody. I mean, if she were a Republican, well, Stephen King, look what happened to him. They took him off committees, everything else. He's lucky he didn't. Some people were calling for him to resign. But now they're running around trying not to offend Omar because all these left-wing snowflakes are out there trying to keep them from passing this resolution or calling it up and figuring out ways to make it basically neutral, to neutralize it. So that's number 3. Then I'm told that the right wing are violent. They're promoting violence because a hat promotes violence. But the only violence I'm seeing is being meted out by left wingers towards conservatives. They just, that Zach Goldberg guy, what a Greenberg or whatever the hell his name is, what a piece of work he is. Years of legal troubles for this guy, and he finally punches somebody in the face. And you all know we have documentation after documentation of violent left-wingers, whether it be outside of rallies or what have you. So far there's been no real evidence of a conservative group of people who are beating people to a pulp and threatening people and everything else, and it's all happening from the left. That's number 4. Then we have number 5, which came out yesterday, which is interesting. You remember when President Trump called the media the Anamedia, right? And you remember when President Trump decided he was going to challenge Jim Acosta and hold on, I didn't plug in my thing here. There we go. When he challenged Jim Acosta and punked him out the way he should have been punked out. Did you remember when they said it was a threat to journalism? And Nancy Pelosi was like, the fourth estate is the most important part of our American mosaic. Now, get out of the Oval Office. I don't want you to see me and Schumer get our butts kicked by Trump. But anyway, without them, we wouldn't be able to survive. Can you get them out of the Oval Office, please? Without them, fourth estate, we can't do anything. So we're told that any criticism of the media is somehow a threat to journalism and to the First Amendment. And we're on the verge of having a totalitarian society, and President Trump is just like Kim Jong-un in locking down the media and calling the enemy. There's a danger in calling. We're free. We're about freedom. We must, what is it about, what do they say about, without darkness, without light, the darkness will fester, or whatever the hell they say. Whatever that thing is. What do journalists always come up with when they try to pretend they're valuable? Without the light on the dark cave of conspiracy, whatever. I don't even know what they come up with some weird thing. Or they quote some people.
I think it's shed light on darkness or something like that.
Yeah, our goal is to shed light on darkness. That's what we do. How dare you criticize us when we're wrong and we're enemies of this republic? But that's what they say, right? Any criticism is a threat to the First Amendment. Unless it turns out it's criticism of Fox News. And the First Amendment is important and the media is important, I'm sorry, unless it's Fox News. So what happened yesterday? The media celebrated the DNC's decision not to have Fox News involved in any of their debates. Now, I'm trying to figure this out. Like, I'm trying to figure out what would happen if, but you know what would happen if. What would happen if the Republican Party decided they weren't going to have CNN part of any of the debates? That's all you have to do is that's your test always. What would happen if the Republican Party did it? What would happen if Trump did it? They'd be going crazy right now. We'd be seeing reruns of covered up bodies in Russia of journalists killed right now. This is just like Russia. Look at that bloody body in the street. Next thing you know, they'll be poking journalists with poison umbrellas. Oh, yeah. They'll show video of Mexican journalists, everything else, which, by the way, they're ignoring that. But you know how many journalists have been killed in Mexico? Hundreds. And the media doesn't really focus on that in any way, shape, or form. You know why? Because otherwise, then they'd have to admit that Mexico is a crap hole country. Because it is. And they'd have to confirm exactly what President Trump called it. But anyway, the DNC decides that the First Amendment and freedom of the press and all that kind of thing. I'm not saying that Fox News has the right to cover the debates. That's the DNC's decision to make, and I understand that it's their prerogative to make it. Much like it's Facebook or Twitter's prerogative not to have me or you or anybody else on. They don't owe us an appearance. And the DNC doesn't owe Fox News an appearance. But if you're squawking constantly about how important the press is, how is it possible you turn around and celebrate when one level of the press is locked out? How do you do that? Well, in this world you can, because it's run by left-wing kooks in the media itself. And so you saw Brian Stetler celebrating this whole thing on CNN.
On the inappropriate relationship between President Trump, his administration, and Fox News has led me to conclude that the network is not in a position to host a fair and neutral debate for our candidates. Therefore, Fox News will not serve as a media partner for the 2020 Democratic primary debates. So that's the statement from the DNC, referring to the reporting in the New Yorker. Fox News has already come out and expressed regret about the decision, saying that they hope the DNC will reconsider. I'm going to call the likelihood of that at 0%. But here's the statement from Bill Salmon, who heads up the D.C. Bureau. He says, "We hope the DNC will reconsider its decision to bar Chris Wallace, Brett Baier, and Martha McCallum, all of whom embody the ultimate journalistic integrity and professionalism, from moderating a Democratic presidential debate." So that's the statement from Fox. But look, Brianna, if we're realistic about this, it is true Fox has journalists like Brett Baier who do a good job. But every night in prime time, Democrats are dehumanized. They are attacked relentlessly by Fox News primetime hosts. It was always hard for me to imagine a Democratic...
This coming from the same network that has Don Lemon calling President Trump a racist on the air. And I'm just gonna use Don Lemon as an example, but every day, the dehumanizing thing, I don't know what kind of snowflake reference that is, but yeah, Sean Hannity and Laura Ingraham and Tucker Carlson are pretty hard on the left wing, and rightly so, thank God. But that shouldn't block them out of being part of a debate any more than CNN's blathering should prevent them from being part of a debate. This is unbelievable, people, but that's the fifth example where the left-wing emperor has no clothes. They love this stuff. They're not talking about the First Amendment.
Taking place in those hours when figures like Nancy Pelosi and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez are constantly demonized and attacked. So the Democratic National Committee now making that official and saying we'll have nothing to do with Fox in this primary season.
Well, and they like that. Again, you say one little thing about Jim Acosta and the entirety of the Fourth Estate is crumbling. And they block out Fox News and CNN and their media guy celebrate the event. There's your world, everybody. Good morning, this morning. Your phone calls are welcome. The calltammy.com real estate listener line, 844-855-1380. Don't forget, coming up at 7 o'clock, Jimmy Carafano is going to chime in. We're going to talk about immigration. We're going to talk about the situation with North Korea and their nuclear plant. And we'll take your phone calls right now, 844-855-1380. Not right now, but after this break.
Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
Not too bad of a hike this early morning with this look at the traffic, sponsored by Compassion International at a half an hour. No times with 255, 55, 50, 70, or with 270, 50 minutes. We do have debris on the exit ramp reported along the southbound side at 270 at Dorsets. 40 minutes and in the clear at 44, 100 Washington and 12th Street. Same at 55, 67 and 64. No more than 30 minutes for 64 users. 5570, Clinton St. Clair County line. St. Charles, North Carolina, 6440 and 70 on either side. Rolling along in the clear at 50 minutes. Not bad with 170 or 5570. Traffic sponsored by Compassion International.
Right now, there's a child living in extreme poverty with no future and no hope. But you can bring hope when you become a Compassion International sponsor. Just text the word child to 83393 and sponsor a child right now.
Jan Shimmick with your St. Louis Metro traffic on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-444-2013. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-444-2013. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-444-2013. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds, too. Call 800-444-2013. 800-444-2013.
You see them all around town. Cintas trucks and their service reps taking care of customers. When companies use Cintas, you know they're confident and ready. Cintas helps with their fire protection and first aid and safety programs, handles their apparel solutions, and helps keep their facility and restrooms clean and stocked. So you know those companies care about their employees, facilities, and image. When all those things work together, they're ready for business.
Oh, I'm ready.
Get Cintas and get ready for the workday.
What's in store for your business this week at Staples?
A printer with more ink than you think.
The Epson EcoTank printer comes with up to 2 years of ink included, right in the box.
So you can print up to 2 years worth of reports and proposals. Just think about how much you'll save on ink.
And right now at Staples, save $70 on the Epson EcoTank 2750. Plus, when you trade in your old printer in store, you'll save an additional $30.
Staples, there's a whole lot in store.
Ends 3/30/19. See associate for details.
Business owners, self-employed, part-time employees, are you struggling to pay your bills because you no longer can afford your health insurance? Hi, it's Mike Gallagher. With Obamacare premiums skyrocketing, higher deductibles, and shrinking networks, let me introduce you to Dryden Camus Insurance Agency as the answer, the solution. Dryden Camus Insurance Agency has non-Obamacare ACA-compliant plans that do not fund abortion. There's no enrollment period, and you don't have to pay for expensive extras like pediatric dentistry or maternity care. Contact Joyce at Dryden Camus Insurance Agency and start saving up to 60%. Call 877-695-0245. That's 877-695-0245, or just go to kddi-ins.com. Cut through the confusion and save money with Dryden Camus Insurance Agency, serving Missouri and Illinois. This is the answer. This is the solution. Dryden Camus Insurance Agency. Just go to kddi-ins.com.
Allman in the morning on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
We are back. 1380, 105.3. The Answer, and it's Allman in the morning. Common sense radio for all of you. 844-855-1380. The Call Tammy Real Estate Company listener line. There we go. Good morning this morning. Phone calls are coming in like crazy, and let's get to Bob on line 2, who I appreciate listening to the show and calling into the show. Bob, good morning to you.
Good morning to you. So it's so ironic that Fox News sued Trump to prevent him from getting Acosta removed. And now they're being removed. But instead of them suing, they're issuing an apology and a hope that they'll be included. That's
right.
Such crap.
Yeah, that's really
and then the
odd.
other irony, isn't it? You know, and I hope that the Republican National Party will uninvite the liberal media to their convention, and let's see where that goes.
Yeah, because let me tell you something. If that happens, then, of course, we'll go back to the whole idea that somehow President Trump is a totalitarian dictator and the Republicans want to shut the media out, when so far the behavior I've seen, for instance, Nancy Pelosi will on the one hand talk about how great the media is and how valuable they are to our society, and then order them kicked out of the Oval Office because she doesn't want them around while she's talking to Trump. And then we have this happening and the media celebrating that. And I always actually, I'm with you, Bob. I actually thought the opposite of Fox News. I thought that for the most part, they've really watered themselves down quite a bit. They really have rabbit ears. They've heard the criticism, and a lot of them seemingly are reacting to it by just more being namby-pamby about things that they otherwise used to be kind of hardcore, at least journalistically aggressive about, but they're no longer that. So we'll see what happens. I don't think the Republican Party should cut these people out, but nonetheless, if they did, there'd be hell to pay. And right now, the rest of the media is celebrating this decision. Bobby, thanks for calling the show. Phil, you are on line 3. Good morning to you. Good morning. Good morning,
Jamie. Thanks for taking my call.
Yes, sir.
You know, it's very clear to anybody that can think without being told what to think. The Democratic Party has become communist. You can call them socialists. You can call them whatever you want. They're nothing more than communists. And the lamestream media, I don't know why they keep calling them the mainstream, because most of us don't even watch them anymore. They're propagandists for the communists. That's all it is.
Yeah. And we're the ones, and they kept on saying, I gave you 5 examples of where the media and the left says one thing, but are completely doing another. And this is another example where we have, how often have the Republicans been called McCarthyites? Really for no reason. And yet the left is the one calling everybody and anybody a racist and a bigot and a this and a that. We'll follow up. The calltammy.com real estate listener line, 844-855-1380.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason in Washington. The revelation shocked those in the audience. Fresh and Republican Senator Martha McSally of Arizona, speaking at a hearing on sexual assault in the military, says that she was assaulted by a superior officer. But McSally, the first female Air Force fighter pilot to fly in combat, says she kept it quiet. Paul Manafort will learn his fate today. The 69-year-old Manafort scheduled for sentencing in Virginia federal court for tax and bank fraud. Alex Trebek is a fighter diagnosed with advanced pancreatic cancer. The Jeopardy host vows to beat the low survival rate statistics for this disease. Trebek says he'll do it with the love and support of family and friends and the prayers of all. On Wall Street this morning, Dow futures down 59 points, S&P futures off 4, NASDAQ futures 13 points in the red. More details at srnnews.com.
Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
Still have authorities on the scene of a crash that leaves only the left lane open, southbound 270 before Tesson Ferry. Watch for delays back into Gravois. Also on the scene of a medical emergency, eastbound 44 just after Lewis. Some delays beginning to thin out, like on westbound 44. Still have some tie-ups through some road construction, Hampton into Shrewsbury. Meanwhile, eastbound 6440 on the brakes, McKnight into Big Bend, also right around 14th Street. Delays on the westbound side cost you time beginning near Clayton into Ballas, as well as a crash off on the right, westbound 6440 at Clarkson. This traffic report is sponsored by Dell. Dell Small Business Technology Advisors know there's nothing small about your business. That's why they offer one-on-one partnership and reliable business PCs with Intel Core processors to help you get business done. Call 877-BUY-DELL. That's 877-BUY-DELL. I'm Dominic Fortini with your St. Louis Metro traffic on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
1380, The Answer. Weather.
Today will be cloudy and cold with a little snow becoming mixed with rain with little or no accumulation expected. It'll be breezy in the afternoon, the high 40. Tonight, overcast with a bit of snow and rain at times with little or no accumulation, the low 32. Tomorrow, cloudy and chilly with a high of 45. Tomorrow night, partly to mostly cloudy with a shower in places late, the low 36. I'm Drew Shannon with your St. Louis Metro forecast on 1380 and 105.3, The Answer.
Dennis Prager points out the truth.
We are told that the left is pro-science and the right is anti-science because we don't believe that we should bankrupt Western civilization because the world will come to an end in 12 years. We are going about it the wrong way, that everything we'll do bankrupting the West will change the temperature perhaps a half a degree. Perhaps.
The Dennis Prager Show, weekday mornings at 11 on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer. Breaking news, stimulating talk.
Glock days are back at Danny Dennis Sporting Goods in Fenton, Missouri, March 15th and 16th. Our Glock representative and a Glock armorer will be on site to answer questions or discuss your Glock firearm needs. The first 50 Glock handguns purchased will receive a free Glock range bag during the event. Sight upgrades are available for Glocks, and with a sight purchase, it can be installed on your Glock free of charge. Stop by and take advantage of the huge savings during this event on all Glock firearms, parts, and accessories. Friday and Saturday, March 15th and 16th, Denny Dennis Sporting Goods at 1 Gravois Road in Fenton. Give them a call at 636-349-9447. 636-349-9447. Glock days are back at Denny Dennis Sporting Goods in Fenton, Missouri, March 15th and 16th.
Denny Dennis Sporting Goods in Old Town Fenton is celebrating Glock Days. Like Denny Dennis on Facebook to get in on their specials.
Smash here, St. Louis, Sundays, 11 a.m. till noon, right here on 1380 and 105.3 The Answer. I'll be bringing you the People's Praise Party. Smash playing Jesus music? Yeah. You talking that stuff too, Smash? Yeah. It's all called Testimony. Sundays, 11 till noon as you're heading to your church's late service or as you're coming out of early service and heading on over to Cracker Barrel. It's the People's Praise Party, your Sunday morning smash at your service. Here on 1380 and 105.3, The Answer.
Are you looking for your dream home, but it doesn't seem to exist? You've tried to figure it out on your own, but don't know what step to take next? Don't worry. I'm Tammy, owner of Tammy Mitchell Hines & Company, and my team and I are ready to help ease that stress. My team serves Monroe, St. Clair, and Madison counties in Illinois. So go to calltammy.com to set up your stress-free appointment today. Give me an idea of what you're looking for, and we will do the rest. If you buy or sell a house with me, you can use my moving truck for free. Just go to calltammy.com.
Allman in the morning on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
are live in the Arrowhead Building Supply studios. It's all in the morning, and it's Common Sense Radio. And your phone calls are welcome. The calltammy.com real estate line is 844-855-1380. You can check us out if you want to watch us on the answer level here, theanswerstl.com. It's right on the front page there. Also, coming up, Jimmy Carafano is going to be joining us at 7:10 to talk to us about what's happening in North Korea. And now we're back to the whole better not. We're going to give you sanctions, and Mustache is out there in front of the White House talking about it. So we're going to follow up on that. And the immigration thing, too, which we've discussed before. Also going to talk a little bit about that Target Amazon worker handicapped parking space issue there. And that dude who's now charged with shooting somebody he got into an argument with in the back. I'm like, thanks a lot, guy. For all the gun owners out there, we're just like, oh, no, really? You shot this guy in the back after arguing with him? So that always, and I'm concerned about the health and welfare of the person who was shot, but obviously, I'm also concerned about this just playing into the hands of other people, because as a handgun carrier, you always learn pretty much right off the bat that you pull out your gun, you might as well be pulling out your checkbook. And also, you pull out your gun, you better be prepared to use it. It's not the gun is not kind of to wave around at somebody who didn't have their blinker on. You know what I mean? It's really gives gun owners and most people who own guns are very sensitive to this kind of thing, because we are careful, we are trained, and we're ready to rock when we have to. But popping some guy in the back when he's clearly not, when he's going away from you, and I'm not quite sure that's exactly the circumstance. That's the allegation being made. So this person is obviously innocent before being proven guilty. But based on what we're hearing so far, if that's true, what happened, we're like, dude, please, on behalf of all gun owners, be a good one. We'll talk about that more. And also take your calls if you want to, 844-855-1380. Tom has been waiting patiently on line one. Tom, thanks for your patience, brother.
Thank you, and it's great to have you back.
Oh, it's great to be back, and buddy, I'm so proud to be back and so happy and privileged to be back with you all. So thank you, brother.
I had two things on that, Omar. The first one is, what would the Republicans be getting done to them by the Democrats if one of them said that? They'd want them off.
Yeah.
And they'd get their way because they're Democrats.
Yeah. And then what happens is you have this entire, it's like having an unruly child, or it's like having a crazy dog you're walking and it walks you. That's what's happening with these left-wing loons in the Democrat Party who are now leading Nancy Pelosi and Steny Hoyer around by the nose. It's pretty incredible.
Exactly. Yes. And I was also wondering, when are the Republicans going to call her out for breaking the rules of Congress? You cannot wear anything on your head.
Oh, I didn't know that was wasn't. We should find out whether that's a rule or not, because I think that certain Republicans.
I believe it is.
Oh, darn it! I think they ought to wear their "Make America Great Again" hats and on the floor. Then
exactly, that's what I was thinking when I heard about that rule.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking
they wouldn't like it.
Yeah, right. Exactly. I'd wear, if I were able to do that, I'd wear 10 "Make America Great Again" hats on my head, so it looked like a stove pipe hat. You know. All right, brother. Thanks
I love it.
Thanks for calling the show, Tim. Yeah, it's really crazy. The networks are all running interference for the Democrats because they don't want to make a hard decision. They don't want to have to reprimand one of their own. And a lot of it's just because they're just afraid of being called racist, because Omar and the rest of her crew have all been more than happy to push Nancy Pelosi around, and she's pushable, that's for sure, because she's just barely holding on to her power there. And she managed to kind of shut Ocasio-Cortez up for a little while, but her grip on power there is tenuous at best. But now they're just basically trying not to apparently, according to MSNBC, pile on, so to
The
speak.
controversy has brought focus to a deep divide, perhaps even a growing divide within the Democratic majority. The New York Times reporting the issue has touched off a furious debate between older House Democrats and their young liberal colleagues over Representative Ilhan.
Yeah,
singled out.
I love watching this happen too, because they're getting just what they deserve. Because what happens is the left-wing white liberal always uses minorities as window dressing and vote getting. So Omar, and I'm not defending her, and Tlaib and the rest of the gang out there, they're not behaving in the manner that Nancy Pelosi and the old white guard want them to behave. Like, they're used to having black people who get into Congress and then just do whatever they're told. And now they've got a bunch of rogue minorities who they're used to them really kind of just taking their place. That's and I explained this to you a long time ago about the white liberal mentality is blacks are very useful to the white liberal as a mechanism, as a means, as a voting bloc, but they're not really seriously concerned about them. Heaven forbid. Well, we want you to be elected, but then we want you to kind of keep your mouth shut. But they're not. So they've got a problem on their hands because they've got 3 minorities who aren't keeping their mouths shut the way Steny and Nancy like their little minions. And so now they've got a problem on their hands. And it just goes to show you, too, that the crassness and mercenary nature of some of these minorities, who they'll call their own mother racist if it gets them to another place. If they can use it to kind of snowflake their way to whatever freedoms they're looking for, they'll call their own kids racist just to get from point A to point B. So it's no wonder Omar and the rest of the minority left-wing mafia are threatening Nancy Pelosi. But they're getting what they deserve on this one, though. I'm not looking out for the fortunes of Nancy. They're getting exactly what they deserve, because for so long they've just kind of kept all the minorities in their little cages. Once they get up to Congress, shutting them up, promising them committee appointments, everything else. But you're dealing with some 30-something now millennials, minorities, and they don't care who you are. They don't care what you are, who you are. And for the next 2 years before they're actually de-elected, which is going to happen, Ocasio-Cortez isn't going to survive a primary challenge, because you know why? Nancy Pelosi and Steny Hoyer will beg somebody to run against her behind the scenes. Tlaib will go the same way. Omar will go the same way. These 3 have basically signed their political death warrants right now. And the problem is the white liberal power structure has more money than they do. And they'll put up some candidates that'll defeat them in primaries. I would. I mean, if I were Nancy Pelosi and Steny Hoyer and all the white liberal Democratic Party, I'd be fundraising right now to find somebody to primary them and get rid of them once and for all. I'm not saying that's the right thing to do. I'm just saying that's what I would do, though, if I were Nancy Pelosi. And you know what? That's what they're doing. Oh, I'm sorry somebody's running against you. I didn't even imagine that would happen. You're Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez. And meanwhile, she's like on the phone. Please run against that vile little twerp. Get her. Pelosi pulls out her best Cruella de Vil imitation. Get her. Or no, Ursula. Oh, the big, gigantic octopus lady. Oh, get out. Get him. Find somebody to kill. Those 3 little princesses. It's like a Disney movie. Really is what we're seeing right now. Is Nancy Pelosi's like the mad villain as 3 of her princesses start to turn on the party. Get them. I liked Ursula. was a very menacing character.
Ursula was awesome.
Man.
Scary.
I know. She seems so real. I don't know whether it's because I know people like her or whatever, but Ursula was quite possibly one of the more terrifying villains in a long time.
I was just going to say, somebody on Facebook yesterday said that Cortez may be being challenged by the guy that started the walk away movement, the Democratic. So that's a big...
Because he's up there.
He's up there, man. Yep.
And believe me, at that point, Nancy and the rest of the gang are trying to find some kind of lever to pull so the floor drops on these three.
Shanghaied.
Where's my lever? Where's my hook? Get them off stage. I'd love to be able to, if I had any kind of production ability, I'd love to do a whole thing, because that's exactly what's happening here. Oh, my pretties. I understand you have some concerns about how things are going here. Come into my lair and eat, and I'll mix all the villains. And here, have an apple. Or something, you know. That's exactly. Or have have an apple, and here, let me introduce you to my flying monkeys.
Unfair treatment over her statements on Israel.
The pushback from Congresswoman Omar saying, isn't it not allowable to criticize Israel in any way without it being called anti-Semitic?
Well, people do it all the time. Just ask Rand Paul. Rand Paul criticizes our Israel-centric policy all the time. It's not uncommon to question whether or not our Israel-centric foreign policy sometimes can get us into trouble. That's not anti-Semitic to do that. But when you start, these guys know what the difference is. When Omar's talking about how Israel is some kind of poison or a cancer, or I forgot what she referred to it as, and talking about how it's an allegiance thing, and then talking about all the money and all about the Benjamins and all that kind of stuff, that's a little different than just a simple policy difference. And everybody, most normal people know that. So this isn't like, it's kind of like when you're arguing with somebody, it's like, well, I have a right to say that. It's like, nobody's saying you don't have a right to say it. You're just wrong. But I have a right to say it. It's like, we get it. And for her to come back, or this reporter to come back with some childish response like, well, so does that mean I can't criticize Israel, our policy at all? It's like, no, that's not what we're saying. You're embarrassing the Democrats. Keep going. Oh, sorry. This isn't my thing isn't playing here. My internet's slower today. For some reason.
Way without it being called anti-Semitic. Furthermore, she has been the target of some anti-Muslim attacks from outside folks as well. And there's this general feeling of how hard do you want to, pile on one.
Is it anti-Muslim to point out that a Muslim is being anti-Semitic? Don't think so.
Light on this. Congresswoman Omar is one of those young rising stars within the party. It's just another distraction from the things they're trying to do in the House. Democrats would like very much for this issue to go away.
But by the way, thank you, because I know they are. By the way, where did the young rising star thing come out of? Since when is Omar a young rising star? Seems to me she's a left-wing hack. So is she a young rising star because she's not Nancy Pelosi and Steny Hoyer and Joe Biden? And does that mean that anybody who happens to be in their 30s is a young rising star? And boy, it's really easy to get a young rising star designation, apparently, in the Democratic Party. It's as easy as it is to win a Nobel Peace Prize if you're Barack Obama, I guess. As long as you go around the world saying, make America fifth again. I'm sorry. We're all sorry for what we did. Here's your Nobel Peace Prize. Sorry for years of being America. Here's your Nobel Peace Prize. And now apparently Ocasio-Cortez coming up with some of the dumbest ideas of the century gets her the designation of a young rising star. That's like getting a trophy for being in last place, which actually I did one time. I was on a football team when I was probably 9 years old, and we lost every single game. I still got a plaque. I'm very proud of that plaque. It says 0-9 on it or something. It still has a plaque with 0-9. Oh. But I turned out a little differently. I'm not, well, at least I don't consider myself to be entirely spoiled. Some people might have a different attitude about that. Call Tammy.com. Well, don't. I'm not telling you to call me and tell me that. Just call Tammy.com real estate line. Listener line 844-855-1380. It's Allman in the Morning, and it's Common Sense Radio. Carafano coming up at just about 7 o'clock. And I want to take your calls if you have any opinions about what happened there with this Amazon driver and the parking space and all that stuff that's been going on. It's a pretty big story, and we'll follow up on that in just a little bit. Be back in a sec.
Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
We're still accident-free and delay-free for this Thursday morning. It's been very quiet out there, but we do have road work. That's something that never really goes away. 44 westbound road work in place, Jefferson to Grand until the end of the year. You have 2 lanes closed on 44 westbound Jameson to Shrewsbury, and that's until the 1st of July. And 44 westbound right lane closed 270 to Bowles for 2 more years until 2021, long-term there. We've got construction closing a right lane on 6440 eastbound on the Poplar Street Bridge until 4. Traffic is sponsored by Dell. Dell Smart Business Technology Advisors know there's nothing small about your business. That's why they offer one-on-one partnership and reliable business PCs with Intel Core processors to help you get business done. Call 877-BUY-DELL. That's 877-BUY-DELL. I'm Bonnie Green with your St. Louis Metro traffic on 1380 and 105.3 The Answer.
While cleaning out the attic, I ran across my father's classic Winchester rifle. Wanted to give it to my son for his birthday, but I didn't know what it needed in order to be restored. So I took it to Razorback Armory for a cleaning and performance check. What a great birthday present it was. My son uses it and will pass it on to my grandson someday. I know that would make my father happy if you were here today. Restore your guns to the condition they deserve. Visit the pros at Razorback Armory in Des Peres, just east of 270 on Manchester. RazorbackArmory.com.
Curtains, shades, blinds, shutters. What are the best for living rooms or bedrooms? Hey, it's Allman from Allman in the Morning. I want to tell you about the quality customized service you will receive when you call my friend Michael Proctor at Proctor Drapery. Michael is an interior designer with exceptional expertise when it comes to window treatments for your home or business. Michael has served our St. Louis area since 1974 with the highest quality and value for custom drapery, blinds, shades, and shutters. He's also the top-tier Hunter Douglas priority dealer and your first choice for Norman Plantation shutters. Those are beautiful. Call Michael Proctor today and schedule your in-home consultation with Michael's mobile design unit. He will come to you. Weekend and evening appointments are available. The one-on-one appointment with Michael will ensure the look is exactly what you're looking for in your home or business. So cut down on the risk of error. Schedule your appointment today with Michael Proctor. Proctor spelled like doctor, ProctorDrapery.com.
You love that smell. That new truck smell. All cleaned up and ready to go.
Did you get your vent visor?
You know, the rain guard that goes over your window? Stop by Custom Car and Truck in O'Fallon, Illinois for free installation and lifetime warranty on vent visors.
How about your bug shield? You don't want to mess up the hood of your new truck with dead bugs. Keep them off the hood with free installation and lifetime warranty bug shield.
See John and the crew off Highway 50 in O'Fallon, Illinois,
or online at CustomCarAndTruck.com.
KXFN St. Louis, K287BY St. Louis.
Business owners, self-employed, part-time employees, are you struggling to pay your bills because you no longer can afford your health insurance? Hi, it's Mike Gallagher. With Obamacare premiums skyrocketing, higher deductibles, and shrinking networks, let me introduce you to Dryden Camus Insurance Agency as the answer, the solution. Dryden Camus Insurance Agency has non-Obamacare ACA-compliant plans that do not fund abortion. There's no enrollment period, and you don't have to pay for expensive extras like pediatric pediatric dentistry or maternity care. Contact Joyce at Dryden Camus Insurance Agency and start saving up to 60%. Call 877-695-0245. That's 877-695-0245, or just go to kddi-ins.com. Cut through the confusion and save money with Dryden Camus Insurance Agency, serving Missouri and Illinois. This is the answer. This is the solution. Dryden Camus Insurance Agency. Just go to kddi-ins.com.
Allman in the morning on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
Girls, come to my office, please. We'd like to have a discussion with you. How dare you, with your insolence, you little minions. I got you on the cover of the Rolling Stone. How dare you cross me? You'll pay, my little pretties, for defying me and Stenny. Actually, you know what? She's not as nearly as tough as she should be on them. They're just going to do all this behind the scenes. Where's Omar? Oh, I think there was a fire. We can't find her. They'll just do it behind the scenes, but these three chickie poos are as good as dead, basically. I'm talking about politically, so don't be, calling media matters. Jamie Allman said they're going to be dead. That's the same guy who did the hot poker thing. Shame on him. Yes, boss. I'll call them right away. Call them. Allman's back at it again. Get him. Yes, boss. Type that out on Reddit now. Yes, boss. No, I said politically. Maybe. That's about it. But no. But for the meantime, though, Pelosi and Stenny are rolling over. They're watering down this resolution, and now it's like, well, we just are going to we don't like any bigots at all. So they're going to just water it down and make it basically useless at this point, which is, that's their deal. Oh, did you see this story? This is rich. This is the National Association of Black Journalists now going after CNN. See, all these people who are supposed to keep their mouths shut are not cooperating. CNN's like, yes, but we call everybody racists. Why are you coming after us? It's like, because you guys don't have any black people running your shows. You have Don Lemon. We see that. But that's about it. There might be some other people on there who are black, but I don't know who they are. But the key for the black journalists is, well, we don't see any producers, any people in the executive offices, or anything like that. And so now suddenly you've got a situation where you've got now a rebellion going on, not only among the young left-wing loons of the party, but now from the outside, you have a rebellion going on from the people who normally are reliably quiet when it comes to these affairs. And now the National Association of Black Journalists are telling CNN that we want a review of your hiring practices. It's interesting how they go after CNN, because you would think they would, if there was something to find there with Fox, they'd go after it, right? But it seems like Fox has more black people on it than any other network, right? It seems to me that they do. I'm seeing a pretty good mix on Fox News. And I know that Lester Holt's the anchor of NBC, and I get all that. But still, it seems to me that when it comes to some of the jobs, but the important thing for them is, well, we want some people more in the executive levels and that kind of thing. And this is going to go away because CNN will write a check to the National Association of Black Journalists. It's just like when Al Sharpton's group comes out. We believe you have violated the we believe you should resignify. Or it's like, well, then here's a check. Okay, bye-bye. That's how the National Action Network operates. You just write them a check and you keep them quiet that way. I'm sure that they'll do the same thing. CNN will just say, how about if we just put $20,000 into National Association of Black Journalists Scholarship Fund. Okay, that'll be fine. Thank you very much. Jimmy Carafano on the way about North Korea as well as the porous border. All that straight ahead.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. The White House says the Homeland Security Secretary's talk about crisis on the southern border is right on target.
In testimony before Congress, Homeland Security Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen said the U.S. faces a real, serious, and sustained crisis at the border, and she told lawmakers that the chain of human misery is getting worse. Press Secretary Sarah Sanders weighed in from the White House, tweeting that the crisis at the border is no secret. She also said that Democrats are just choosing to ignore it. Greg Clugston, the White House.
In the House, still no vote on a Democrat resolution condemning anti-Semitism, the measure prompted by remarks by freshman Congresswoman Ilhan Omar of Minnesota. Some Democrats pushing to broaden the bill's language to condemn all kinds of bigotry. Paul Manafort to learn his fate later today.
You write the pages of your own life story. That's the lecture U.S. District Judge T.S. Ellis III routinely gives to drug dealers and bank robbers before pronouncing sentence, saying life is a series of choices and living with the consequences of those choices. Today, it's Paul Manafort facing Ellis's judgment, and Manafort's choices present the very real possibility that he'll spend the rest of his life in prison. The 69-year-old could receive 20 years for tax and bank fraud related to money he earned advising Ukrainian politicians. However, most observers expect he'll receive something less than that. Ben Thomas, Washington.
A second federal judge ruling against the Trump administration's plan to include a citizenship question in the 2020 census. The California federal judge says that such a move would be unconstitutional, but the Supreme Court will have the final word on the matter. Wall Street this morning, stock futures pointing to a lower open. Right now, Dow futures down about 43 points. S&P futures off 3 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
We're looking at our first delays of the morning. 270 northbound just starting to get slow. Tesson Ferry to Gravois. And 70 eastbound showing some delays between Bryan Road and Hughes. Everything else, though, wide open. Midday road work today, 9 to 3. You'll see construction on eastbound and westbound 44 between Shrewsbury and 70. 141 southbound road work from 6440 to 4450. That will be in place until 2:30 today. But everything else looking pretty nice. Traffic is sponsored by Dell. Dell Small Business Technology Advisors know there's nothing small about your business. That's why they offer one-on-one partnership and reliable business PCs with Intel Core processors to help you get business done. Call 877-BUY-DELL. That's 877-BUY-DELL. I'm Bonnie Green with your St. Louis Metro traffic on 1380 and 105.3, The Answer.
1380, The Answer. Weather.
Today will be cloudy and cold with a little snow becoming mixed with rain with little or no accumulation expected. It'll be breezy in the afternoon, the high 40. Tonight, overcast with a bit of snow and rain at times with little or no accumulation, the low 32. Tomorrow, cloudy and chilly with a high of 45. Tomorrow night, partly to mostly cloudy with a shower in places late, the low 36. I'm Drew Shannon with your St. Louis Metro forecast on 1380 and 105.3, The Answer.
Tune in to Chris McKay this Saturday morning at 11:30 on 1380 and 105.3 The Answer. For over a decade, Chris McKay has been educating listeners on how they can achieve true happiness and improve their lives and lives of their families. The Chris McKay Show interviews cutting-edge leading experts, entrepreneurs, and best-selling authors in a diverse range of categories such as health, beauty, finance, real estate, and investments. Don't miss Chris McKay this Saturday morning at 11:30 on 1380 and 105.3 The Answer.
Glock Days are back at Danny Dennis Sporting Goods in Fenton, Missouri, March 15th and 16th. Our Glock representative and a Glock armorer will be on site to answer questions or discuss your Glock firearm needs. The first 50 Glock handguns purchased will receive a free Glock range bag during the event. Sight upgrades are available for Glocks, and with a sight purchase, it can be installed on your Glock free of charge. Stop by and take advantage of the huge savings during this event on all Glock firearms, parts, and accessories. Friday and Saturday, March 15th and 16th, Denny Dennis Sporting Goods at 1 Gravois Road in Fenton. Give them a call at 636-349-9447. 636-349-9447. Glock Days are back at Denny Dennis Sporting Goods in Fenton, Missouri, March 15th and 16th.
Denny Dennis Sporting Goods in Old Town Fenton is celebrating Glock Days. Like Denny Dennis on Facebook to get in on their specials.
When you listen to the Ed Martin movement, you never know who's going to drop in.
Grover Norquist, who is, among other things, he's well known for founding Americans for Tax Reform.
That which is put in by executive order can be taken out by executive order. So President Trump and the EPA and the Energy Department and Education have done a very good job of pulling out a lot of crabgrass. It takes longer than you'd like.
Tune in to the Ed Martin movement, weekdays from 3 to 5 to find out who's dropping in next. He's back. Yes, he's back. Allman in the morning. Don't adjust your radio. On 1380 and 105.3, The Answer.
Yes, indeed. We're back here. It's 7:05, and good morning this morning. It is All in the Morning, Common Sense Radio, and my old buddy, my smart man, the smart man in the room, his name is Jim Carafano. He's from the Heritage Foundation, and nobody needed to tell Jim Carafano or the Heritage Foundation about the numbers we're seeing now, where we're expecting up to, according to the Homeland Security guys, 1 million illegals coming into the country in 2019. And Jim, it's my recollection that we were told during the throes of the emergency declaration and beyond in the caravans that immigration wasn't a problem, that we were a record number of apprehensions, and so no big deal. But now suddenly it looks like things are kind of exploding. Hi.
No. I think it was just all a giant misunderstanding. No, serious. No. Pelosi said it's not a crisis. Well, if you believe in open borders, it's not a crisis. This is a good thing. So I think they were just confused.
Yeah.
I mean, look. We had, if you actually look at, this thing the other day where a general said, it's not a military, problem, or it's not a military crisis, which is true. We haven't, last time I checked, nobody tried to invade our border since the Battle of New Orleans, but it could actually, and I remember this in my days in the military, because I was in the Army for 25 years.
Yeah.
If you actually look at the military, they have this criteria for mass migration crisis, and let me tell you, the number that they have is a lot lower than 1 million. I mean, I was, I guess it was the 80s. I was in Fort Sill, Oklahoma, and we had to rush troops down to deal with the Cuban boat lift, and we didn't have 1 million people storming the border. So, I mean, how can you look at this and just say, well, the president just made this up? And yet I continue to see stories every day basically saying, there's no crisis, there's no emergency.
Yeah. I mean,
any other president, Woodrow Wilson, actually, they did let him put troops on the border. Buchanan, presidents, people forget that we're presidents. Any other president had put a bill on the table, asked what the president asked for border security, nobody would have even blinked an eye. But because it was Trump and because it was politics, that became the cause celeb, and now we have the lie that we cannot give up.
Yeah, and what's happening here is, it seems to me, although I want to ask you this, I don't want to sit here and answer a question that you can answer easily, but my question is seemingly that it looks like these people are rushing the border in anticipation of something happening down the line. So the fact that we're having this debate and hemming and hawing over border security is actually, looks like it appears to be causing this rush to the border, correct or not?
So if you go to our website, heritage.org, and you look at our new paper, An Agenda for Immigration Reform, there's an explanation there what's happening on the border. And you raise an important point, because what a lot of people don't understand is how the nature of the border threat has changed. In the old days, CP wasn't 1,000% worried whether somebody crossed the Rio Grande River or not, because they dealt with something called the melting point. And because the way the law is written is, if you catch somebody within 100 miles of the border within a week, you can put them into what's called expedited removal, right? And for many of them, when you're paying a coyote $10,000 to smuggle you across the border, just getting here and getting thrown back is a pretty big deal. So what the melting point is how far is it from the border so you can get into an urban center or a highway or transportation network where you can disappear into the interior beyond 100 miles, right? And so where the melting point was low, like where you just jump over the wall and you're in a Starbucks, right? A wall is very, very important. In other places, it was less so because they would just round them up, put them in a bus, and send them back. What's changed is because of the way the loopholes have evolved over the last couple of years and because of the policies put in place under the Obama administration, we have a situation now where you don't even have to get in the United States. If you just get on the wall, get over to our side of the wall like you're climbing down, and you claim to be a family, and you have children, and you claim asylum, you cannot be put at expedited removal. Over 90% of the claims of refugee status are proven false. Almost virtually all of those people, once they get in the United States, are released in the interior. Over 90% of them will not show up for deportation. So the problem now is, and the reason why they're rushing to the border is, all they have to do is get over the border and claim to be a family, and essentially they will get in the United States, and in all likelihood they will be catch and release, and we'll never see them again. And we even have documented cases now. I've been saying it, but the Secretary of Homeland Security actually testified to this yesterday on the Hill. What the smuggling rings are doing is they're making fake families, sending them over the border, and then they're taking kids. They're smuggling them back into Mexico, putting with another fake family and sending them back again. So they're actually recycling the children.
Wow. That's crazy.
You heard it here first.
Yeah, I mean,
Allman in the AM.
I mean, that is, I guess you could call that human trafficking, but that's just incredible. So then what?
And then when you look at the numbers of rapes and murders and extortion and crime and violence and smuggling, the other great lie was they said all the drugs are coming through the ports of entry, right? So Trump's just making this up. Well, that's not true. We catch more drugs at the point of entry because that's where we screen for them. But the Border Patrol will tell you actually more drugs come across the border. Most of the drugs that come across, the biggest volume of drugs that come across is marijuana. That does not come across at the points of entry. And often what they will do is, if they will charge you $10,000 to smuggle in the United States, or they will give you a backpack marijuana, and they say, carry this across the border. You get over that, paid your thing there. So by any measure, humanitarian crisis, inability to control immigration, rampaging crime, and drug trafficking, it is a legitimate crisis.
It's so strange to live in a world, because I happen to be a fairly heavy-duty news consumer, so I click around and I pop around on the radio and I hear experts here, experts there, and it becomes weird when you start to hear the same thing over and over again, like you would point out with the drugs at the port of entry only, and then it's not a crisis because border apprehensions at an all-time high. I must have heard 10 people in one day say the exact same line. At that point, that's my big indication that it's probably a lie. It's probably a lie. But I don't know.
They're just stuck in their documents. But the other thing, which is really funny, is if you actually been following the reporting the last couple of days, because there have been hearings on the Hill, and the DS just put out a big report about their statistics. It's been all over the news, and the same left-wing media that was vociferously and obediently reporting the Democratic talking points are now putting these headlines: crisis at the border, emergency at the border. It's like, dudes, do you not get the disconnect here?
Yeah, that is crazy. All right, so on to North Korea. And by the way, again, as Jimmy points out, at heritage.org, heritagefoundation.org, they have, heritage.org, sorry, that's the website. They have some really great research white papers on the immigration issue. In fact, you guys are probably the preeminent supplier of light and illumination when it comes to the immigration situation that we have. So check that out. But what about this North Korea thing? Because I'm looking at this attempted rebuild of a nuclear facility, and now John Bolton's talking about more sanctions. I guess this was to be expected. It wasn't Kim Jong-un wasn't going to just go back home and nothing was going to happen, correct?
Right. I know. I'm sorry. I just have to channel Billy Joel, right? North Korea, South Korea, Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah, right.
Just always it doesn't matter. It always kicks in. Look, what this shows is how right the president was. Everything the North Koreans have put on the table, including what they put on the table in Hanoi, were the kinds of things that were easily reversible. And that's why they haven't taken the steps yet to prove that they were truly committed to denuclearization. Why the president was right not to cut a deal then. I don't know what this means. I have problems with people that connect the dots they have and assume that they're connecting dots. So I don't know how much we can read into this latest move, but clearly North Koreans have to go back and rethink their negotiating strategy, and we'll go from there. But again, I think what's important always to remember is it is not the diplomacy that keeps us safe. What keeps us safe and limits North Korea's capacity to start a war or to directly threaten the United States is the pressure campaign, missile defense, nuclear deterrence, conventional deterrence with our allies in Japan and South Korea, and the heavy sanctioning that really limits Kim's capacity to really threaten us. That's the safety net. That's the firewall, right? The diplomacy is an opportunity for Kim to prove that he's different than his father and his grandfather and actually will denuclearize and normalize his nation. If that works, awesome for everybody. Awesome for the North Koreans. Awesome for the South Koreans. Awesome for the Americans. Most of all, awesome for Dennis Rodman, who could probably get more money for his timeshare in Pyongyang.
Right.
But that's as long as the pressure campaign's in place, we are safe. So, and I said that 2 years ago, and everybody said, "Oh my God, we're going to break out into World War III." We're not in danger of World War III. North Korea's in a tiny little box, and Trump's going to keep him there unless Kim comes through and actually decides to give up his nuclear weapons.
So then, what do you think is going on with this nuke facility? What's the thinking of Kim Jong-un in looking like he's re-energizing this thing?
It's a very closed society. We don't, even people with access to a lot of classified information don't necessarily know exactly all the internal dynamics and what's going on. And so what I'm very reluctant to do, and what I think is bad analysis, is it's to take the information you have and process it and the way you're thinking things are to make it all make sense, right? That's called cognitive dissonance. You can look it up after the show. But, and this is literally...
You don't think I know what that is?
Connecting... I know you took psychology in college. I know that. This is, literally taking the dots you have and connecting them, right, and drawing a picture of it, which may or may not be complete. I mean, this is the problem the Democrats had with a lot of the, Trump conspiracy thing, is they took a handful of things and they said, oh, my God, it's obvious, all these crimes are committed. Well, you don't actually have proof of that. You have a couple of random dots, and you filled in all the space with the stuff that you think. I honestly don't know why the North Koreans did what they did. I'm not sure a lot of people really, really know. I don't think we have to put a meaning and an interpretation to it right now. Let this play out. Let's see what the North Koreans do in the months ahead. Because if they come back to the table, Trump will be happy to meet with them. He loves meeting with Kim. They go to nice hotels.
Yeah.
They have nice dinners. But what they know is if they come back to a summit and they want something, they've got to put something on the table to get a real deal. And they have to process that, and we'll see what they do.
Cognitive dissonance. Does it mix with gin or... Oh,
yes, it's actually great with a little twist of lemon.
I got you.
Ask for one of those next time you're at the local watering hole there. Give me a cognitive dissonance. Straight up.
One of the things, though, it's interesting, too, is I saw a recent poll, and I tend to agree with this assumption that a lot of Americans, even though they think North Korea is a problem, a lot of Americans don't seemingly express a lot of fear of North Korea. Like, they don't really think that whatever they're doing over there is going to eventually hit them in Clayton, Missouri, or in D.C. for that matter.
This is the great irony, right? people actually trust Trump.
Yeah.
We were just looking at some polling data yesterday, and after 2 years of the Trump presidency, what are the big issues? Immigration is number one. And this is a poll, actually, of Republicans. Number two, abortion. Number three, the economy. National security is way down the list. And the reason why it's way down the list is they think Trump's taking care of business.
Yeah, they figure he's got it. Got it
What they're
covered.
worried about is they're worried about the incredible indifference to the lives of the unborn. They're worried about people that want to turn the economy into a socialist wasteland, and they're worried about open borders.
Yeah.
So actually, and look, I am not a partisan guy. I don't do politics. I'm just an analyst. But I'm just seeing what people are saying, and actually, we have this weird combination on the one hand of everybody crying wolf, the sky is falling, we're all going to die, and then people looking at foreign policy and saying, actually things are okay, and Trump seems to be doing a decent job. And on the other hand, we see that what are the defining issues? Socialism, abortion, open borders. I mean, the Trump's critics could not be more helpful in crystallizing the differences between the two options America has for the future of their country.
Right. Yeah, I'm with you on that. And I also believe that a lot of people, they can see the economy. They can see the effects of illegal immigration and of expansions of H-1Bs. They can see it because they can apply all that to their lives, the economy and beyond. And North Korea is just kind of like, it might as well be another planet as far as a lot of Americans are concerned. It's an issue, but it might as well be another planet to a lot of people.
Yeah, I think the difference on the economy and on it is people see the promise of a growing economy, and what they're fearful of is that they don't want people to screw that up. They see, the impacts of the tax cuts. They see declining employment. They see, manufacturing jobs coming back to the United States. They see the administration standing up for American jobs, and they don't want to lose that. I think that's the fear factor there.
Yeah, and unfortunately, the only thing I saw the other day was that Univision was the only network to report the historic gains that Hispanics are making in the economic market as it relates to jobs. I had to watch it in Spanish, so that's how it rolls. All right, buddy. Well, Jim, always great to have you as part of the show, man, and thank you so much for your support over the years, and we love you guys over there at Heritage, and thank you very much, buddy.
And we've all learned something today. You've learned what cognitive dissonance is, and I've learned who R. Kelly is. I didn't know who that guy was yesterday, but now I do.
I know. I haven't talked about that story at all because I think R. Kelly's right behind North Korea in the list of concerns of my listeners. All right, buddy.
You know what? Maybe he could get a condo next to Dennis Rodman.
Right, exactly. All right, friend. Jim Carafano, thanks a ton, buddy. Heritage.org. Call Tammy.com real estate. Listener line 844-855-1380. It's Common Sense Radio.
Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
A few more delays checking in out there this morning. 270 northbound Big Bend to Manchester. That's still just a little bit tight, really. 6440 eastbound Chesterfield Parkway west to Timberlake Manor backing up. And then 170 to Big Bend just starting to slow there. 70 eastbound Bryan Road to Hughes, you'll see delays. Midday road work today 9 to 3 on eastbound and westbound 44 between Shrewsbury and 70. And 141 southbound 6440 to 4450 road work until 2:30 today, too. Traffic is sponsored by Dell. Dell Small Business Technology Advisors know there's nothing small about your business. That's why they offer one-on-one partnership and reliable business PCs with Intel Core processors to help you get business done. Call 877-BUY-DELL. That's 877-BUY-DELL. I'm Bonnie Green with your St. Louis Metro traffic on 1380 and 105.3 The Answer.
Energy, passion, and joy. Those are just three words to describe my sense when I walked into the offices of Tammy Mitchell-Hines and company there in beautiful Columbia. She is covering the entire Metro East, Monroe, St. Clair, Madison counties, Illinois. She is the #1 independent real estate office in southwestern Illinois. back to the passion, the energy, and the joy. You walk into those offices, and she has a crew of people who are going to be working for you to buy a home or sell a home. It doesn't matter what the price of the home is. Tammy Mitchell-Hines and her crew, they do not try to say, hey, we're not going to make enough money off this, whatever. They want to serve everybody regardless of the value of your home. And more importantly, I love actually walking into the office. I actually wanted to, I tried to make an excuse to go into her office where she had this pewter, like a cow skeleton or something in there. You know what I mean? You know those steer skeletons that you see around? But she had like a pewter one, or maybe it was sterling silver or something in there. And I tried to like get a tour of her office because next time I go back, I'm going to see her office because it tells you everything you need to know about the swagger of Tammy Mitchell-Hines and company and her energetic staff. These folks are great. It's really fun to meet somebody with the kind of passion that Tammy and her crew have. And I've known about her for a long time. I've heard about her for a long time. And I'm really proud and I'm really privileged that she is now attached to the Allman in the Morning show, and I'm attached to Tammy Mitchell-Hines and company. And in fact, she runs the Tammy Mitchell line, TammyMitchell.com real estate listener line, 844-855-1380. So I appreciate it on down the line. But you as a home buyer or a home seller are going to be so happy to attach yourself to that energy and that passion to get your home sold or to buy that dream home of yours. Call Tammy.com. Call Tammy.com.
Hello, St. Louis. Join me, James Enstall, every Sunday at 1 p.m. for Geek to Me Radio right here on The Answer. I'll bring you the latest pop culture news, fun giveaways, and of course, the best celebrity guests across the greatest fandoms like... Today, we're talking to KISS bassist and entrepreneur extraordinaire Gene Simmons.
But I'll never forget the day Stan and the band, we took fresh blood from our veins and stuck it into the red ink in the Marvel comics.
That's Geek to Me Radio, brought to you by Historic St. Charles. Plan your trip now. Go to discoverstcharles.com for an historically good time.
Attention gun enthusiasts. Interested in purchasing a suppressor, but worried the new gun laws might make it a tough process? Razorback Armory in Des Peres is your home for the new Silencer Shop kiosk system. No need to go to several locations to prepare for your application, photo submissions, and fingerprint cards. Still have questions? Razorback Armory has answers. Visit the pros at Razorback Armory in Des Peres, just east of 270 on Manchester. RazorbackArmory.com.
Curtains, shades, blinds, shutters. What are the best for living rooms or bedrooms? Hey, it's Allman from Allman in the Morning. I want to tell you about the quality customized service you will receive when you call my friend Michael Proctor at Proctor Drapery. Michael is an interior designer with exceptional expertise when it comes to window treatments for your home or business. Michael has served our St. Louis area since 1974 with the highest quality and value for custom drapery, blinds, shades, and shutters. He's also the top-tier Hunter Douglas priority dealer and your first choice for Norman Plantation shutters. Those are beautiful. Call Michael Proctor today and schedule your in-home consultation with Michael's mobile design unit. He will come to you. Weekend and evening appointments are available. The one-on-one appointment with Michael will ensure the look is exactly what you're looking for in your home or business. So cut down on the risk of error. Schedule your appointment today with Michael Proctor. Proctor spelled like doctor, ProctorDrapery.com.
Allman in the Morning on 1380 and 105.3 The Answer.
So we've got the Fox News people being shut out of any Democrat debate involving the presidential nominees. And so I say to Fox News, well, that was great. It was nice of you to come out in defense of Jim Acosta. That was interesting. Remember? See where that got you with these ingrates in the Democratic Party? They don't care about you. They actually don't even care, really, as they always claim they do, about the First Amendment and the Fourth Estate and the media. The president calls the media the animedia, but the only people I've seen actually act on their disdain for the media has been the Democrats. Because I don't know whether you recall Barack Obama tapping the phones of James Rosen at Fox News. Remember that? Yeah. And now the DNC deciding they're not going to include members of the Fourth Estate in their debates because they happen to be associated with Fox News. Interesting Orwellian world we live in these days. Your phone calls are welcome. The call, Tammy.com real estate listener line, 844-855-1380.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason in Washington. Still no vote in the House on a Democratic resolution to condemn anti-Semitism. That measure prompted by remarks by freshman Congresswoman Ilhan Omar of Minnesota. Some Democrats are pushing to broaden the bill's language to condemn all kinds of bigotry. Paul Manafort will learn his fate later today. He's to be sentenced in federal court for tax and bank fraud. It stems from money he made as a Ukrainian political consultant. A second federal judge ruling against the Trump administration plan to include a citizenship question in the 2020 census. The Supreme Court will have the final word on the matter. South Korean intelligence reports new activity detected at a research center where it's thought that North Korea builds long-range missiles. On Wall Street, stock futures have turned positive. Dow futures now up 13 points. More details at srnnews.com.
Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
It's looking a little bit more like a rush hour out there this morning. On 270 northbound, your stop and go from Tesson Ferry to after Gravois, where a left lane still blocked with an accident. We can see the crash from the jam cam north of Gravois. And we have reports of an accident, Lucas and Hunt, north of West Florissant. 270 northbound, also a slow spot, Big Bend to Manchester. 6440 eastbound, Chesterfield Parkway west at Timberlake Manor. 170 to Big Bend, westbound direction, Hampton to Laclede Station slows. And 70 eastbound, Bryan to Hughes is backed up. Traffic is sponsored by Dell. Dell Smart Business Technology Advisors know there's nothing small about your business. That's why they offer one-on-one partnership and reliable business PCs with Intel Core processors to help you get business done. Call 877-BUY-DELL. That's 877-BUY-DELL. I'm Bonnie Green with your St. Louis Metro traffic on 1380 and 105.3 The Answer.
1380 The Answer. Weather.
Today will be cloudy and cold with a little snow becoming mixed with rain with little or no accumulation expected. It'll be breezy in the afternoon, the high 40. Tonight, overcast with a bit of snow and rain at times with little or no accumulation, the low 32. Tomorrow, cloudy and chilly with a high of 45. Tomorrow night, partly to mostly cloudy with a shower in places late, the low 36. I'm Drew Shannon with your St. Louis Metro forecast on 1380 and 105.3 The Answer.
Call the 1380 The Answer listener line and tell us what you think.
Yes, this is Brian, Illini Brian. And Jamie Allman speaks for me. And it will be so great hearing my voice back on the radio again.
The 1380 Answer listener line. Call 844-825-1380. That's 844-825-1380. It's your turn to speak up.
I regularly hear stories of companies cutting the commissions of their outside salespeople. Has that happened to you? Or maybe you've had accounts taken from you and given to another salesperson to level the playing field. I've never understood those who penalize top sellers when they've become too successful. If you're a good salesperson, especially if you're in media sales, then I want to talk to you. I'm Lori Vernier, local sales manager for Salem STL Radio. I believe in the work I'm doing, but more importantly, this company believes in its people. Last year, Salem Media Group, our parent company, was voted one of the national best and brightest companies to work for. And for the past 2 years, we were voted a great place to work by our employees. If you'd like to join my sales team, drop me an email at jobs@salemstl.com. That's jobs@salemstl.com.
The station is owned and operated by Salem Media Group and is an equal opportunity employer.
Imagine doing one thing that gives you an entirely different perspective about your place in the world. Think it would be worth it? Dennis Prager here, inviting you to join me for a 10-day Stand with Israel tour, a tour through the land of Israel in December 2019. Come with me to get firsthand insight into Israel's fascinating past and promising future. Walk the ancient temple steps, sail on the Sea of Galilee, and so many more unforgettable moments. Return home inspired, renewed, and empowered. If you've ever dreamed of seeing Israel, this is your opportunity. With expert guides and important lectures at key sites, we'll be together in the comfort and safety of luxurious accommodations the whole time. Join me for a life-changing adventure to give you a renewed sense of purpose.
Join Dennis Prager and Mike Gallagher for an unforgettable guided tour through Israel this December 2nd through 11th. Book your trip now at theanswerstl.com. Allman in the Morning on 1380 and 105.3 The Answer.
The call Tammy.com real estate listener line is open, 844-855-1380. Don't forget, you can watch us in all our full glory on theanswerstl.com, right at the front page there as well. And coming up at 8:10, we've got Jim Talent joining us. He's going to talk to us a little bit about some of the machinations there on Capitol Hill going on with the Democratic Party, which is being swamped by its own people. And this Omar chick, she'll call anybody racist. She'll call her own mother racist. And so now she's got basically Nancy Pelosi and Steny Hoyer bent over a log. And they're like, well, you know, on second thought, maybe we're going to just say all bigotry. But that's what these people have done. They've wrestled away the power. It's actually three minority individuals who Tlaib and Ocasio-Cortez and Omar, who are running the show. And white liberals are scared to death of them because of the extortive powers of these individuals to get what they want by pushing people around and calling them racists or xenophobes or whatever, anti-Muslim or that kind of thing. But it's actually pleasing to see, to tell you the truth, it's actually pleasing to see the Democrats now eating each other alive, cannibalizing each other, instead of actually focusing on President Trump. I mean, they will with all their hearings and that kind of thing, but they've got some bigger problems. They've got some intra-family trouble that is going on. And until Nancy Pelosi and Steny arrange for the defeat of these three in their upcoming 2020 elections, they're going to have to put up with this for a while. And Omar, once she gets away with this, she'll be running amok. Because that's what they do. Now, I don't know whether, and again, this is a little dicey from the standpoint of I don't want to come across as portraying all Muslims like this, because I don't believe that. I have Muslim friends, so I don't want you to mistake me for this. But let me just go a little bit broad here really quickly and tell you that if you look at Germany and France and countries, I'm talking about militant people. I think Omar is a militant Muslim. She's not like other Muslims out there. She's a militant, left-wing, agitative Muslim. So she's not representative of most Muslims in this country. We've got millions of them who don't run around calling people racist and who don't run around condemning Israel and making anti-Semitic comments on Twitter. So if you don't mind, isolate what I'm saying to militant Muslims. And this has been going on for a couple of decades now. And militant Muslims will always look for the dying tree. They're the fungus that attacks a dying tree and topples the dying tree. That's what a militant Muslim does. And you've seen it in Germany. You've seen it in France. Those two countries that have been overrun by militant Muslim populations. Some of them are regular Muslims, whatever, who've been overrun by militant Muslim populations because that's what they do. And I'm going to ask you a question and see if you can answer it for me. Why do you think the migration and the Muslim migration problem is a problem in Germany and not in Poland? Or, for that matter, in Germany and not in Italy? Although there have been some issues down in Sicily, here and there in the southern area. But ask this question because I know you know the answer. Why is Germany overrun by militant Muslims and Poland is not? Why is France overrun by militant Muslims where they have neighborhoods where the police won't even go in there, and Italy does not? The common denominator with Poland and Italy is nationalism. Pride in their country, pride in their churches, pride in their culture. Now, Italy is not nearly as churchy as it used to be. They have a lot of churches there, but the people generally aren't. But what I'm saying is, though, their cultural institutions and their political institutions are rock solid. And they are very quick to defend those cultural and political elements and institutions in their countries. It's called nationalism. It's called being prideful in your country. Prideful not in actually the sinful, well, the Bible. I'm talking about pride in your country. Unfortunately for Germany, it's not necessarily, it's just simply a symptom of what happened in World War II. Germans don't like to be rah-rah about Germany because they remember what happened last time Germans were rah-rah about Germany and 6 million Jews died. So nationalism is a bad word in Germany, and unfortunately that's a symptom of what happened to generations before them. You take a tour bus in Germany and you can't get into the bus and start rolling without them apologizing for the Holocaust. So nationalism is not a priority, and France has gone through that too. And so what they've done then in the process is they've watered down everything about them, everything about their nationalism. So their church, they're now highly secularized. Germany and France are, because of what they've been through and what they've undergone in the past. And I'm saying I would recommend that they get over that and move on and take pride in Germany and France. So similarly, when you have a bunch of weak, left-wing, rudderless loons on Capitol Hill running your party, people like Omar, who's a militant, can see the dying tree very easily. And she knows that she can infiltrate this operation basically and control it. She can control it by putting a shield around her and hide behind her faith or her ethnicity or whatever, and so that nobody can come near her. And also Germans and the French were all so paranoid about being portrayed as racist or bigoted because that's hurt them in the past, that they just let it happen because they don't know what else to do. It's now in Germany, if you're a woman, you can't even wear a swimsuit at the public pool anymore for fear of people groping you and these migrants all harassing you and everything else. They've lost complete control of their country. And Muslims are more than happy to fill in the blanks. That's how a militant Muslim operates. That's how they pursue things. That's what they do. Because a militant Muslim's main goal is to spread more of Islam, not to roll it back. That's kind of what they do. And so I'm not saying that Omar is trying to spread Islam throughout Capitol Hill. That's not what I'm saying, but it's instinctual when people are weakened to move in and start to roost there. Not dissimilar. And so right now, I guarantee you that Omar is not going to shut up. There's not a chance in hell that Omar is going to change any aspect of her language. In fact, she's just going to get more renegade. She's going to get more rogue. She's going to go more left, and she's going to dare Nancy Pelosi and those guys to get rid of her. Or to pass a resolution condemning what she's saying. And so that's why Nancy Pelosi's like, oh, we better just make this about generally everything. This resolution. You might as well put a condemnation of trans fats in the resolution. And we don't like bigotry in trans fats as well. And sugar's a problem. And that's what you might as well just make it so broad nobody even there's no semblance of any kind of stand you're taking at all. You're just kind of doing it and taking a stand and but it doesn't mean anything. And again, this is not an unserious event. You've got Omar who's sitting on committees, Homeland Security committees and things. This is not a bad event. The only good thing for you Democrats out there who are concerned about the future of your party, it being wrestled away by these people, all you have to do is trust the fact that Nancy Pelosi and her white liberal mafia will get rid of these people fast. And you saw how quickly that she shut Ocasio-Cortez up when she was even remotely talking about maybe a change in leadership, and suddenly 2 weeks later she's on the TV saying, I don't know, change isn't always good. It's like, oh, what happened there? And then, of course, you have also the media that has taken up the media will take up the banner of anybody who is opposed to Trump or who happens to have a situation that could put the media in the crosshairs of being called a racist. So what they do, it's the same thing. It's how the Jussie Smollett thing advanced so rapidly. It's how the Covington school kid story advanced so rapidly because this ate-up dude, Nathaniel, what's-his-face, was a minority. And so at that point, it's like they're off to the races because the assumption is always that they're right. And it's not out of their belief that these people are right. It's out of their fear that if they say anything that's off the grid, they'll be attacked. They are afraid of being called bigots. This is one of the biggest hammers that the left wing have right now, because there's nothing more feared by the news media and by white liberal politicians than being called racist. That's their biggest fear. And they'll do anything to avoid it, even if it means hopping in bed with anti-Semitic lunatics like Omar or habitual liars like Jussie Smollett. I'm just saying. It's not because they're bad people. They're fearful people. They know what's happened before. That's why the ABC folks, when they were talking about Omar's anti-Semitic outbursts, they're downplaying it like it's really not a big deal.
And Mary Ocasio-Cortez, on a different subject, part of a new struggle inside the Democratic Party. She's defending her fellow freshman Ilhan Omar, who had made some comments that were perceived.
Yeah, it's Stephanopoulos saying, "Oh, it's just a a struggle. Yeah, here I am talking about nationalism, and I failed to play the national anthem. Shame on me. That means right now that a militant Muslim is going to come in here and take over the show because they've noticed that there's a crack in the tree. Allman did not play the national anthem. That means he doesn't care about America. Let's move in and take over the microphones. I forgot about that. How come I didn't do that? Sometimes I'm so excited about America that I forget to play the national anthem. Anyway, yeah, I'll get to that. I'll do that when I'm done here. You know what I'll do it? I'll do it when I'm good and ready. That's what I'll do. Lack of planning on your part does not constitute an emergency on my part, said the clerk at the city hall. All right, so anyway, but back to Stephanopoulos. This is just a struggle right now. With Omar. It's a struggle, says George.
And Mary Ocasio-Cortez on a different subject, part of a new struggle inside the Democratic Party. She's defending her fellow freshman Ilhan Omar, who had made some comments that were perceived as anti-Israel. Now the leadership in the House is trying to pass a resolution taking on anti-Semitism.
Yeah, George, this is exposing a real family feud, a generational and ideological divide between sort of the old...
Yeah, how cute. It's just a family feud. They're acting like the Democratic Party is the Waltons all of a sudden. Oh, there's trouble on Walton Mountain. All these good people having differences of opinion. That's what they're called. I love the Waltons, though, by the way. Come on, don't shake your head at that. It was a great show.
Dude, I watched every episode of the Waltons.
Oh, you did? Yeah.
I love Earl Hamner is a legend.
Man, I love the Waltons. I love the theme song. I'm going to play that coming back from this break, and we'll all sing it, even though there aren't any words. I'm loving the Waltons. I'm loving the Waltons.
I think Henry Davis could probably come up with some lyrics probably for that. Trump.
So, yeah, it's a family feud. It's just a little family.
The older, more established House members, House Democrats, and these younger freshmen, more liberal members.
They're acting like Omar, who's an anti-Semite, and Tlaib, who's a racist herself in many ways, although I don't like throwing that around, but you know what I'm talking about, and Ocasio-Cortez, who's kind of dumb as a bag of hair. They're acting like these people are just rebellious teenagers. Oh, those cute little girls. Look at how they are rebelling against Mama Pelosi. And they make it out to be like it's some kind of like nothing to see here, just a little family feud, when this is a pretty serious deal. And believe me, if you ask Nancy Pelosi what she thinks about what's going on, I guarantee you she's not looking at this as just a family squabble. This is going to wind up being a real problem for them and for her. I'm just telling you. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Without further ado, our national anthem.
Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
Well, we still have 270 northbound jammed up from Tesson Ferry to after Gravois, where two left lanes remain blocked with that crash. We can see it from the jam cam north of Gravois. And 70 westbound Some debris is being picked up in the right lane after Earth City Expressway. We can see that from the jam cam east of the Blanchette Bridge. 270 northbound Big Bend to Manchester, 44 eastbound Elm to Laclede Station is slow, and delays on 6440 eastbound Chesterfield Parkway west to Timberlake Manor and McKnight to Big Bend slows too. Traffic is sponsored by Dell. Dell Small Business Technology Advisors know there's nothing small about your business. That's why they offer one-on-one partnership and reliable business PCs with Intel Core processors to help you get business done. Call 877-BUY-DELL. That's 877-BUY-DELL. I'm Bonnie Green with your St. Louis Metro traffic on 1380 and 105.3 The Answer.
Thank you, Bonnie. And I got to tell you, I am so happy to see so many of my old friends coming back to the Allman in the Morning Show and Common Sense Radio. And Banner, by the way, is on the way back as well. I just want to let you guys know that, give you a little tip off there. But anyway, I want to talk about Dentistry with TLC and Dr. Anna and Travis. This is a husband and wife team, a family-run dentist office that is very highly committed to making sure you are happy with all of your dental needs. Now, Travis's side is the CPAPsucks.com side, where they are arranging mouth guards and things like that that keep you from having to put the bag over your head. And you guys know what I'm talking about there. And on the pure dentistry end, Dr. Anna is not only offering same-day appointments, and if you don't get one, she'll put $50 in the till, but she's also offering you the chance to take care of everything at one time. So she might be seeing you for a teeth cleaning and noticing something that needs to be repaired, and she'll not make you come back. She'll do it right then and there. It's very easy to get to in the Metro East. It's Dentistry with TLC, DentistryWithTLC.com. She was the first dentist in St. Louis, by the way, to introduce fast braces, and she was the first senior master fast braces dentist in the United States. That means she is a total expert in this field, and if you want it done right, Dr. Anna is going to do that for you as well. And also, and it's fast, I just want to let you know that. She also has the TLC Care Plan. If you don't have dental insurance, or if you have dental insurance that's not good enough, and a lot of people are kind of drawn back on there, a lot of companies are. So for only $19 a month, the plan includes 2 cleanings a year, x-rays, and doctor's exams, and 15% off all dental work. You can't lose with my friends over at Dentistry with TLC, Dr. Anna and Travis and the rest of the gang. DentistryWithTLC.com and CPAPsucks.com.
Business owners, self-employed, part-time employees, are you struggling to pay your bills because you no longer can afford your health insurance? Hi, it's Mike Gallagher. With Obamacare premiums skyrocketing, higher deductibles, and shrinking networks, let me introduce you to Dryden Camus Insurance Agency as the answer, the solution. Dryden Camus Insurance Agency has non-Obamacare ACA-compliant plans that do not fund abortion. There's no enrollment period, and you don't have to pay for expensive extras like pediatric dentistry or maternity care. Contact Joyce at Dryden Camus Insurance Agency and start saving up to 60%. Call 877-695-0245. That's 877-695-0245, or just go to kddi-ins.com. Cut through the confusion and save money with Dryden Camus Insurance Agency, serving Missouri and Illinois. This is the answer. This is the solution. Dryden Camus Insurance Agency. Just go to kddi-ins.com.
KXFN, St. Louis, K287BY, St. Louis.
Are you ready to sell your house, but you don't know who to trust with a listing? I'm Tammy Mitchell-Hines, and I sell a house every 30 hours in the Metro East. From staging your house to filling out all of the paperwork, my team is here to guide you step by step through the process of selling your house and getting the most value from it. Serving in Monroe, St. Clair, and Madison counties in Illinois. Go to calltammy.com and let us do the work for you. If you buy or sell a house with me, you can use my moving truck for free. Just go to calltammy.com.
Curtains, shades, blinds, shutters. What are the best for living rooms or bedrooms? Hey, it's Allman from Allman in the Morning. I want to tell you about the quality customized service you will receive when you call my friend Michael Proctor at Proctor Drapery. Michael is an interior designer with exceptional expertise when it comes to window treatments for your home or business. Michael has served our St. Louis area since 1974 with the highest quality and value for custom drapery, blinds, shades, and shutters. He's also the top-tier Hunter Douglas priority dealer and your first choice for Norman Plantation shutters. Those are beautiful. Call Michael Proctor today and schedule your in-home consultation with Michael's mobile design unit. He will come to you. Weekend and evening appointments are available. The one-on-one appointment with Michael will ensure the look is exactly what you're looking for in your home or business. So cut down on the risk of error. Schedule your appointment today with Michael Proctor. Proctor spelled like doctor, ProctorDrapery.com.
Allman in the morning on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
Love the show. Just loved it. That's some good music right there, man. Who did this? Is it Henry Mancini or something like that? Sounds great. Maybe that's Al Hurt on the horn. I'm going to check that out. I'll find out exactly who this is. See if they have an album. Yeah, the biggest controversy in the Waltons was, Billy stealing a raccoon or something from somebody's shed. Those were the days.
This hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. Fresh attention is being focused on the problem of sexual assault in the military after a freshman senator revealed that she had been assaulted while in the Air Force. Republican Martha McSally of Arizona says she was preyed upon by a superior officer but kept quiet for years because she didn't trust the system. Another Trump judicial nominee appears on a glide path to Senate confirmation. The nominee up for a seat on the 6th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals.
The ayes are 53. The noes are 46. The motion is agreed to.
And with that, Eric Murphy appears well on his way to confirmation by the Senate this afternoon. He was praised by Majority Leader Mitch McConnell for his education and experience.
Mr. Murphy is a graduate of Miami University and the University of Chicago School of Law, and now serves as the state solicitor of Ohio.
Murphy facing opposition from many Democrats for helping Ohio clean up the voting rolls and defend the state's traditional and biblical view of marriage. Bob Agnew, Capitol Hill.
It was classic Alex Trebek. The way the Jeopardy host announced his cancer diagnosis was in keeping with the way he conducts himself on TV.
With the very same calm voice and demeanor that he uses to announce a correct answer or reveal a daily double, there was Alex Trebek in a video delivering the kind of news that no one wants to hear, that he has stage 4 pancreatic cancer. In the clip, he acknowledges that he has an uphill battle but is up for the challenge, and he asks for thoughts and prayers from fans. Trebek says he went public with his health news to keep fans from having to hear it secondhand.
Correspondent Oscar Wells Gabriel. Facebook unveiling a new operational strategy aimed at making the service more privacy-friendly, enabling individuals and small groups to carry on private conversations that even Facebook itself cannot monitor. Dow futures down 5 points, S&P futures up 1. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
A lot more going on out there. We've got the accident on 270 northbound after Gravois. That one has cleared, but you still have a backup to Tesson Ferry. And the debris that was on 70 westbound after Earth City Expressway, that's been cleared out of the road. 270 eastbound, though, reports of an accident after St. Charles Rock Road. 270 eastbound just slows Lindbergh to 170. 44 eastbound Elm to Laclede Station Road slowing. And 6440 eastbound McKnight to Big Bend, you'll see delays. Westbound Hampton to Laclede Station Road slows too. Traffic is sponsored by Dell. Dell's small business technology advisors know there's nothing small about your business. That's why they offer one-on-one partnership and reliable business PCs with Intel Core processors to help you get business done. Call 877-BY-DELL. That's 877-BY-DELL. I'm Bonnie Green with your St. Louis Metro traffic on 1380 and 105.3 The Answer.
1380 The Answer. Weather.
Today will be cloudy and cold with a little snow becoming mixed with rain with little or no accumulation expected. It'll be breezy in the afternoon, the high 40. Tonight, overcast with a bit of snow and rain at times with little or no accumulation, the low 32. Tomorrow, cloudy and chilly with a high of 45. Tomorrow night, partly to mostly cloudy with a shower in places late, the low 36. I'm Drew Shannon with your St. Louis Metro forecast on 1380 and 105.3 The Answer.
I'm Lou Dobbs. Amazon closing all of its pop-up stores. A Fed official says slower U.S. growth is the new normal, and tobacco companies cheer the exit of the FDA chief. Those stories next.
G'day, I'm Scott from Plug-in Pest Free.
I want to personally thank all my plug-in pest-free customers who have taken the time out to call, write, and who have left messages to thank me for ridding their homes and businesses of unwanted rodent and pest problems. So from me to you, I thank you. Plug-in pest-frees are the only scientifically tested and, more importantly, consumer-proven electromagnetic pest management system since 1995. Why put up with those annoying rodents and pests any longer? Plug-in Pest-Free is 100% chemical-free, making it your safest bet to manage your rodent and pest problems around your family and pets. With a 60-day money-back guarantee, you have nothing to lose. So order yours today at gopestfree.com. Use promo code SAVE20 for 20% off and free shipping. That's gopestfree.com, promo code SAVE20. Don't spray and regret. Plug in and forget. Gopestfree.com today.
Amazon closing all 87 of its so-called pop-up stores in the United States that feature products like Amazon's Echo and Kindle. The online giant didn't give a reason for the closings, which are expected to take place by the end of next month. The president of the Federal Reserve Bank of New York says slower growth in our economy may become the new normal and not a cause for alarm. John Williams added that economic growth around 2% shouldn't prompt any changes in the Fed's plans for fewer increases in interest rates this year. Another Fed official with exactly the wrong idea. FDA Commissioner Scott Gottlieb's departure has tobacco companies cheering. Gottlieb aggressively targeted tobacco firms during his tenure at the FDA. Please join me for Lou Dobbs tonight, 7 o'clock and 10 Eastern on the Fox Business Network. This is the Lou Dobbs Financial Report.
I regularly hear stories of companies cutting the commissions of their outside salespeople. Has that happened to you? Or maybe you've had accounts taken from you and given to another salesperson to level the playing field. I've never understood those who penalize top sellers when they've become too successful. If you're a good salesperson, especially if you're in media sales, then I want to talk to you. I'm Lori Vernier, local sales manager for Salem STL Radio. I believe in the work I'm doing, but more importantly, this company believes in its people. Last year, Salem Media Group, our parent company, was voted one of the national best and brightest companies to work for. And for the past 2 years, we were voted a great place to work by our employees. If you'd like to join my sales team, drop me an email at jobs@salemstl.com. That's jobs@salemstl.com.
The station is owned and operated by Salem Media Group and is an equal opportunity employer.
Larry Elder explains how hard Trump has been on Russia.
The president has been the toughest on Russia than any modern president. Trump has pulled out of this treaty with Russia that Russia was violating. Trump has armed the Ukrainians. He's made us more energy efficient. He's condemned that pipeline that Russia is building between its country and Germany, and the president's being reamed as soft on Russia.
The Larry Elder Show, weeknights at 5 on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer. Breaking news, stimulating talk. Common Sense Radio with Allman in the morning on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
Give me land, lots of land, and the starry skies above. Don't fence me in. Let me ride through the wide open country that I love. Don't fence me in. Let me be by myself in the evening breeze. Listen to the murmur of the cottonwood trees. Send me off forever, but I ask you please.
Good morning this morning, everybody. Happy Thursday to all of you. You can call the calltammy.com real estate listener line 844-855-1380. And as promised, I told you I'd do the research. I'm sure people are thinking, like, I thought, like, you researched, like, real stuff when you were off the air. No. I did all that already. That's why I have wiggle room. It's called wiggle room, people. I can have a little fun because I'm already prepared. Gives me time to figure out who wrote this Walton's theme, which I love. And according to my investigation, according to Google, Jerry Goldsmith was the one who did this, and he's the one who also scored The Twilight Zone, Barnaby Jones, remember Barnaby Jones? And Police Story. And then also did the movies Papillon, which is a great movie, Patton, and Planet of the Apes. So there's your info. His name is Jerry Goldsmith and then Alexander Courage. So those were the two guys. They did a bunch of Star Trek stuff too. But man, that's some pretty good music right there. But there's somebody out there going, yeah, my dad played the horn on the Waltons theme. There's somebody out there saying that right now. Oh yeah, my dad was the one playing those strings. Somebody's family member was a band member on the Waltons. I'm fascinated by that kind of stuff. But you know what? I got to get to the things you come to the Allman in the Morning show really for. People like Jim Talent, who's on the line patiently waiting. Jim, I know you watched the Waltons.
Actually, I never did. I was a Barnaby Jones fan. So.
Barnaby Jones. I remember him.
And, we're dating ourselves, Jamie.
I know. Well, I remember Barnaby Jones. Like, it was so implausible that Buddy Ebsen was a cop. Because what he would do is he'd like pull up in front. He'd like drive his Ford Fury or whatever he was driving, or his Dodge, and he'll screech in front of some place and get out. And he's like 80. He's running with his gun. I didn't believe it for a second, but I did watch it though.
You're desecrating my childhood. I mean, you're disillusioning me, Jamie.
No, he was good, man. I watched
people like him really were police officers.
Well, those guys were always good. I mean, it was like Columbo. I mean, those were great shows. Macmillan and Wife and all. I loved all those detective shows.
To this day, Jamie, I love whodunits.
Yeah.
I guess my tastes are unsophisticated, and unfortunately, they don't produce many of those movies anymore. But I just love the ones where they would set up a problem and the detective would have to solve it. And, of course, the whole thing, if you thought about it for 30 seconds, usually was ridiculous, but I still liked it.
Yeah,
I read all those Agatha Christie things,
Yeah. Well, sometimes, because I don't really know how to operate my TV. I don't know what's on each channel. So sometimes I'll take the clicker and just kind of push through but one time in the search for something that I had to find news oriented, I landed on whatever channel was playing Murder, She Wrote episodes, and I must have stayed up until 2 a.m. I must have watched like 5 or 6 Murder, She Wrote episodes. I was addicted because it's a great show.
Well, it was very popular too. I mean, she could have stayed on that forever.
Oh yeah,
I mean, they would have had a lot of people watch that show. Yeah, we're walking down memory lane now here, my friend.
She had to go voice
Mannix, and those kinds of shows.
Yeah. Well, she could have done it forever, but she had to go voice the teapot in the Beauty and the Beast, so she couldn't do it all. All right,
She's a very versatile actress, wasn't she?
Angela
She
Lansbury,
was in
yeah.
movies, theater. I actually saw her in. What was that? The name of the play about the barber who killed people.
The Barber of Seville.
She starred in that. Yeah, no, it was one of your people come up with it, but I was playing in Chicago when I was living there, and I watched
Sweeney
it.
Todd, Max says.
Sweeney Todd, she was great in that. Yeah.
Yeah, well, she was a pretty formidable screen actress when she was younger. I mean, she was pretty strong. So anyway, hey, listen, I noticed happening in D.C. with some degree of comedy. I'm listening to the networks. Here on this, let me see if I can get my iPad going here. I'm listening to the networks all act as if this thing with Omar and Nancy Pelosi, as she's trying to kind of keep these 3 renegades at bay, they're calling it kind of like a family squabble. That's one of the reasons why I played the Waltons theme, because the news media is acting like this is just some innocent episode of the Waltons where there's just some disagreement. But this is a pretty major fissure in the party right now, and I don't think Nancy Pelosi knows how to really handle it.
Yeah, I would agree with both of those.
It's
a major problem. Jamie, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry.
Okay, sorry. Something came on for a second.
Nothing came on.
It's a major problem, and she doesn't know how to handle it. I mean, what they ended up doing, not intentionally, of course, was probably the worst possible thing, which was to, condemn it personally or to, rebuke the new Congresswoman, and therefore, basically say the remark was anti-Semitic, and then want to offer this resolution and then not be able to pass it, right? Because what that says is, we can't deal with anti-Semitism in the party. So it's a problem. And if you look at what's happened over in Britain to the Labour Party, it's really out of control there. They've had members of Parliament resign from the party because of it. So this is something that she needs to pay a lot of attention to, and it's going to be difficult. I mean, she basically was rebuked by her own caucus. I was reading a story about it.
Yeah. Well, and
we should all look. Most of the Democrats serving, and the vast majority in the country, are not anti-Semitic at all. But this could be a real problem for them, and I think everybody needs to try and help them solve it.
Yeah, because, and here's the thing that I was saying, and I don't know how easy this is done, but, Ocasio-Cortez and even Omar and Tlaib, all three of them did not have sweeping victories in their districts. And there's a pretty good chance that if they keep up with this kind of thing, I mean, it's a short 2 years to 2020. And there could be a possibility that even some Democrats might try to come up with some way to primary these individuals because they are disruptive. It's not a matter of them speaking out on policy. They're just being agitative and, calling people racists and making anti-Semitic comments. It's a problem. Running Amazon out of New York,
and the voters do know how to apply a remedy to that. I think you're correct, and we'll see how this goes. It is a major issue. A couple of things are important, I think. When anti-Semitism does, we shouldn't sniff it out. We should try and give people the benefit of the doubt. But when it becomes visible, you need to step on it because it can grow pretty fast. And the second thing is, when people are consistently attacking Israel, I think they're wrong factually. I mean, we don't have time to get into all that. Typically, they're wrong. But people can be wrong in good faith. So what I always look at is, are they prepared, and do they as consistently condemn Hamas and Hezbollah? And if they don't, and often they don't, then you're entitled, I think, to infer that the motives are not what they should be. So, I don't think Omar would pass that test. Let's put it that way. So,
yeah, and Jim,
it's a problem.
Yeah, and Jim, it's interesting too because one of her responses was, "Well, wait, does that mean I can't criticize Israel at all or our policy?" It's like, no, that's not what this was about, because the questions about Israel-centric foreign policy and other things, that's not unusual for individuals to question our involvement or question our support or that kind of thing. But she puts it in a different way. This is not just a policy difference. She's talking about allegiances, pledging allegiance to a country that claims that we're doing, and she's calling Israel a cancer. And it's I mean, come on, that's more than a policy difference.
Right, and what is a couple of things. First of all, it's a classic anti-Semitic trope to say that the Jews are running everything, right? That they're pulling the strings all across the world, et cetera. And you do need to be sensitive to that context a little bit before you make charges like that, particularly when it's sort of, you don't have any evidence and it's this sort of vague charge, right? And the second thing is what I said before, okay? Israel, first of all, factually, Israel is a vibrant multi-ethnic democracy with a respect for the human rights of its citizens. I mean, I'll defend them all day long on that. But even if you think that isn't true, okay, look at what Hamas does. It's avowedly a terrorist organization, uses children, civilians as shields. It digs tunnels to infiltrate people to attack civilians. Its charter contains a clause saying that they're not going to rest till they achieve the destruction of the Jewish state. Okay, so how do you just attack Israel over and over again and never mention the context and the enemies against which they're fighting? And the same is true of Hezbollah. Okay, and if you don't, then I think we're entitled to conclude that your problem isn't with oppression or violation of human rights. It's with the Jews. Okay. So, and we don't have to, as I said, we should give people the benefit of the doubt. We should not sniff this stuff out. But we don't have to, we didn't just fall off the truck yesterday either, right? As my dad used to say.
Yeah.
Hope you didn't mind that little rant. But I mean,
No.
it's again, we can recognize, and that's why they rebuked her for it, because for all those reasons, they know. I mean, this is something that from time to time in the past, both parties have had to deal with, and you have to respond vigorously. And they're trying, and the Democratic leadership is trying. They're just having a problem here.
Well, now, unfortunately, though, this has turned into one of those things where they've got Steny Hoyer and Nancy Pelosi kind of in a corner, because now they're bringing out the whole racism thing, and they're talking about them being anti-Muslim and everything else, and so Omar has this shield around her now, but if you don't penetrate that and get some reason installed in her patterns here, she's not gonna ever stop.
Yeah, if she can divert attention with this very false and unfair charge. I mean, Nancy Pelosi and Steny Hoyer are not racists, okay, and they're not doing this for any illicit motives. They're concerned about the potential of anti-Semitism even in their own party. And one of the things you have to do is stand up and be willing to condemn even people who are otherwise your friends. Again, you want to give people a benefit of the doubt. I mean, I just think that generally speaking, it's sort of a rule of human relations that you assume a charitable interpretation unless you know otherwise. But when you do know otherwise, you have to do something.
Right.
And that's why they wanted to run this resolution, and they couldn't even pass. I mean, they could pass it, Jamie, because the Republicans would all vote for it. They'd get a bunch of the Democrats, obviously, but they'd lose a lot of their people, even on the watered-down resolution, and that's what would be very embarrassing for them. So they are in a corner now.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, one of the things about having now the terrestrial radio show is I have to talk to you about that one topic, and I can't talk to you about three, because I know you have a lot to say about North Korea, and I know you have a lot to say about the immigration issue. So now let me ask you this. Let me just see if you can do this. Can you hang on the line, and can I come back and talk to you about a couple of those other issues?
Okay, my friend.
Well, I mean, I know I'm putting you on the spot by asking you on the air, but you and I have before had conversations that went on for 45 minute back in the old days. So I was thinking you'd be okay with that.
But I'm happy to do it. I'll do another segment. There's something I've got to write something this morning, and I procrastinate anyway, so I need to get to it. But let's do another 5 or 10 minutes.
I'm going to steal you away only for about 5 or 6 minutes anyway, so you'll be able to write that.
That won't make the difference. And I love talking to you. And North Korea is an important topic right now. So
no doubt about it. All right, Jimmy, we'll hang on the line there, and we will return. This is Allman in the Morning. It's Common Sense Radio.
Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
One accident clears, the one on 55 northbound before Butler Hill. But now we've got a crash causing big problems. 6440 westbound, stop and go from McKnight to before Lindbergh, where 2 left lanes remain blocked with that crash. We can see it from the jam cam at Lindbergh. 270 northbound, Gravois to 44, just a slight delay there. That one's practically gone. 6440 eastbound McKnight to Big Bend slows westbound Hampton to Laclede Station Road tight. And a road work closing a right lane on 6440 eastbound on the Poplar Street Bridge until 4. Traffic is sponsored by Dell. Dell Small Business Technology Advisors know there's nothing small about your business. That's why they offer one-on-one partnership and reliable business PCs with Intel Core processors to help you get business done. Call 877-BY-DELL. That's 877-BY-DELL. I'm Bonnie Green with your St. Louis Metro traffic on 1380 and 105.3 The Answer.
Glock days are back at Danny Dennis Sporting Goods in Fenton, Missouri, March 15th and 16th. Our Glock representative and a Glock armorer will be on site to answer questions or discuss your Glock firearm needs. The first 50 Glock handguns purchased will receive a free Glock range bag during the event. Sight upgrades are available for Glocks, and with a sight purchase, it can be installed on your Glock free of charge. Stop by and take advantage of the huge savings during this event on all Glock firearms, parts, and accessories. Friday and Saturday, March 15th and 16th, Denny Dennis Sporting Goods at 1 Gravois Road in Fenton. Give them a call at 636-349-9447. 636-349-9447. Glock days are back at Denny Dennis Sporting Goods in Fenton, Missouri, March 15th and 16th.
Denny Dennis Sporting Goods in Old Town Fenton is celebrating Glock Days. Like Denny Dennis on Facebook to get in on their specials.
Hi, my name is Scott Ferguson, the Director of Outreach from St. Matthew Church in Belleville, inviting you to worship with us each Sunday. We offer 3 different worship experiences: 8 a.m. traditional, 9:17 modern, and 10:45 blended with our St. Matthew Sanctuary Choir and Orchestra. That's St. Matthew in Belleville. For additional information, visit us at stmatthewumc.org.
You love that smell, that new truck smell, all cleaned up and ready to go.
Did you get your vent visor?
You know, the rain guard that goes over your window? Stop by Custom Car and Truck in O'Fallon, Illinois for free installation and lifetime warranty on vent visors.
How about your bug shield? You don't want to mess up the hood of your new truck with dead bugs. Keep them off the hood with free installation and lifetime warranty bug shield.
See John and the crew off Highway 50 in O'Fallon, Illinois,
or online at customcarandtruck.com.
Business owners, self-employed, part-time employees, are you struggling to pay your bills because you no longer can afford your health insurance? Hi, it's Mike Gallagher. With Obamacare premiums skyrocketing, higher deductibles, and shrinking networks, let me introduce you to Dryden Camus Insurance Agency as the answer, the solution. Dryden Camus Insurance Agency has non-Obamacare ACA-compliant plans that do not fund abortion. There's no enrollment period, and you don't have to pay for expensive extras like pediatric dentistry or maternity care. Contact Joyce at Dryden Camus Insurance Agency and start saving up to 60%. Call 877-695-0245. That's 877-695-0245, or just go to kddi-ins.com. Cut through the confusion and save money with Dryden Camus Insurance Agency, serving Missouri and Illinois. This is the answer. This is the solution. Dryden Camus Insurance Agency. Just go to kddi-ins.com.
Allman in the morning on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
Good morning this morning. We are back. You know what I was doing is I was searching for the darn Barnaby Jones theme song. I couldn't find it. You caught up with me too fast. Oh, well. Jim Talon's back on the line with me. Good morning, Jim. Hey, so what's your take on what's happening with North Korea right now? I know Mr. Bolton is now talking about sanction renewal and everything else. So what's happening in your mind?
Well, Jamie, I think, first of all, the basic strategy that the president put in place, I think almost a couple of years ago, was this: to basically confront over time the North Koreans and the Chinese with 2 alternatives. So one alternative is that they could, in a meaningful way, negotiate over giving up the nuclear architecture in North Korea. And if they did that, the United States would cooperate and there would be benefits for them. Okay, that's one alternative. The other alternative for them is to continue the nuclear architecture, in which case there would be mounting, purposeful, and relentless costs and consequences imposed upon them that would deny them the benefits of that architecture. In other words, making them come out worse if they made that choice. And so, you know, we ratcheted up the sanctions, ratcheted up our presence, forward presence in the area, et cetera. And now we just had this summit. Kim refused to cooperate in the first alternative, and so Bolton and the others are now saying, okay, then you've chosen the second alternative, so you're going to have to live with it, and we're going to make things worse for you. And that's the policy. And if we follow it over time, I think there is a reasonable chance of getting what we want. But we have to be very purposeful and very consistent. How's that for an explanation?
It's absolutely on point. And I just think that, and I was telling Jim Carafano earlier when he was on the show, that it appears Americans don't feel completely menaced by North Korea. It's not really on the number one topic of their list, unless, of course, he starts threatening people again and doing all that kind of thing. And it looks like people believe that President Trump has things under control, at least, and that's why you're not getting a lot of trepidation coming from the American public when they're polled about these things.
Well, one of the things the North Koreans will do, you have to understand that they, in particular the Chinese, do attempt to play our domestic politics, okay? So I expect the North Koreans to do some provocative things in an attempt to undermine support for the policy, so that, and then counting on people to say, see, the policy isn't working. We now have to go to a different policy where we give them things, which is what they want.
Yeah,
okay?
Which is what we've been doing in the past.
So, yeah, which is why it's very important to have some basis of bipartisan unity and consensus, and for everybody to just stick with this policy, because it's the only one I think that has a chance of working.
All right.
You know, the broader lesson for us, Jamie, is, and I've said this to you before, you don't let rogue regimes get nuclear weapons in the first place.
Yeah. All right, Jim Talent, you are the best. Thanks for spending all the time. Best of luck in your morning writing, my friend. And as always, you are much appreciated, Jim Talent. Take care, buddy.
That's GoGo Meds.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason in Washington. Fresh attention being focused on the problem of sexual assault in the U.S. military after a freshman senator revealed that she had been assaulted while in the Air Force. Republican Martha McSally of Arizona says that she was preyed upon by a superior officer, but she says she kept quiet for years because she couldn't trust the system. Another Trump judicial nominee appears on a glide path to Senate confirmation. The nominee, Eric Murphy, up for a seat in the 6th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals. Facebook has unveiled a new operational strategy aimed at making the service more privacy-friendly, enabling individuals and small groups to carry on private conversations that even Facebook itself cannot access. On Wall Street this morning, stocks have opened lower. The Dow down about 56 points. The S&P is off 6 points. More details at srnnews.com.
Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
Well, a couple of accidents causing some big problems. 55 northbound, a right lane block before Butler Hill with an accident, and 6440 westbound. Your stop and go all the way from McKnight to before Lindbergh, where 2 left lanes remain blocked with that crash. We can see it from the jam cam at Lindbergh. 270 northbound, just a slight delay, Gravois to 44. We've got brake lights on 6440 eastbound McKnight to Big Bend, westbound Hampton to Laclede Station Road slows. And midday work continues today 9 to 3 on east and westbound 44 between Shrewsbury and 70. Traffic is sponsored by Dell. Dell Small Business Technology Advisors know there's nothing small about your business. That's why they offer one-on-one partnership and reliable business PCs with Intel Core processors to help you get business done. Call 877-BY-DELL. That's 877-BY-DELL. I'm Bonnie Green with your St. Louis Metro traffic on 1380 and 105.3 The Answer.
1380 The Answer. Weather.
Today will be cloudy and cold with a little snow becoming mixed with rain with little or no accumulation expected. It'll be breezy in the afternoon, the high 40. Tonight, overcast with a bit of snow and rain at times with little or no accumulation, the low 32. Tomorrow, cloudy and chilly with a high of 45. Tomorrow night, partly to mostly cloudy with a shower in places late, the low 36. I'm Drew Shannon with your St. Louis Metro forecast on 1380 and 105.3 The Answer.
Dennis Prager finds substance in Trump.
The elites love form. They love you to sound sophisticated in the NPR way, a certain monotone which betrays little emotion. As my wife put it, Obama had form without substance. This president has substance without form.
The Dennis Prager Show. Weekday mornings at 11 on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer. Breaking news. Stimulating talk.
We know you're out there hiding in plain sight, living a life of quiet desperation, wondering if you're going to beat your money to the grave. There's a better way, a better life at Lifestyles Unlimited. It's time to live the life you deserve. You can only do that by creating passive income. Let us show you how. It's just 2 hours. It can't be worse than another meeting about meetings or another mindless night in front of the TV. Go to lifestylesunlimitedworkshop.com. That's lifestylesunlimitedworkshop.com.
Dude comes up to me at a Smash Band gig. Says, Smash, have you gone gospel on us? I'm still a rock and roller, but I do and always have loved the Lord and the music that praises Him. So I hope you'll give a listen Sunday mornings, 11 a.m. till noon now, as I, Asher Ben Ruby, that's me, the Smash, presents the People's Praise Party on 1380 AM and 105.3 FM, The Answer. Dude says, Smash, I promise to listen to the People's Praise Party as long as you promise to play me some Skinner. Oh, boy.
Curtains, shades, blinds, shutters. What are the best for living rooms or bedrooms? Hey, it's Allman from Allman in the Morning. I want to tell you about the quality customized service you will receive when you call my friend Michael Proctor at Proctor Drapery. Michael is an interior designer with exceptional expertise when it comes to window treatments for your home or business. Michael has served our St. Louis area since 1974 with the highest quality and value for custom drapery, blinds, shades, and shutters. He's also the top-tier Hunter Douglas priority dealer and your first choice for Norman Plantation shutters. Those are beautiful. Call Michael Proctor today and schedule your in-home consultation with Michael's mobile design unit. He will come to you. Weekend and evening appointments are available. The one-on-one appointment with Michael will ensure the look is exactly what you're looking for in your home or business. So cut down on the risk of error. Schedule your appointment today with Michael Proctor. Proctor spelled like doctor, proctordrapery.com.
Allman in the Morning on 1380 and 105.3 The Answer.
This is some Jerry Goldsmith right here. Roger. Doing some Patton. The same man who gave you the Waltons theme song and Barnaby Jones scored Patton. You know, my dad and I used to go to a lot of movies together. I pretty much saw every movie ever made in the late 60s and early 70s. It didn't matter whether it was the movie Bugs or Patton. We saw everything. I saw so many war movies, I thought that Hardy Kruger and Maximilian Schell were my uncles. But Patton was the first double feature I ever saw, and I believe I was about 9. It was 71, I believe. So I was actually 8. He took me to go see Patton and MASH as a double feature. And I made it through Patton. I had no idea what was going on. I mean, I'm 8 or 9 years old, and I'm like, oh. I remember it distinctly, though. I remember the images, everything else, and the music and things. And I remember it being long by my standards, you know. And then MASH was the second movie, and I think I fell asleep after the shower scene. And that was my first memory, my first double bill memory, and I remember it like it was yesterday, really, honestly. I remember the shower scene in MASH, too. But nonetheless, my dad took me. He would take me. It didn't matter, you know. It was one time. I was telling a story about one time I had we were in Texas, and I can't remember whether my dad decided that he was just going to buy a car there and take it back up, or that we went to Texas to pick up the car, knowing that I, as a 14-year-old, would drive it back. So I can't remember what the decision-making was. I can't remember whether we drove down to Texas to get the car, or we were in Texas and he decided to buy a car there and said, oh, I'll just have Jamie drive it back. But I remember I was 14, and I remember driving this 66 Olds behind him. and I remember keeping the windows open so I could stay awake.
Wait a second. You were alone?
Yeah, well, he bought the car, so the only way to get the car back was if he drove, and then I drove the car he just bought.
Wow. What was the driving age in 70, whatever the hell? What was the driving age, 15?
No, it was still 16. I was 14 years old, man.
So you're in his rearview mirror?
Yeah, the whole time. And I remember being so tired because we were driving. It seemed like we were driving overnight. I still can't figure out what we were up to, but we were driving overnight, and I kept the window open to keep myself awake because the semi noise was loud enough to keep me awake. I had to hear something. So I kept the window open just to kind of get the air, and when the semis passed by, that would keep me awake. It's pretty fun. Now that I think about it, I mean, I look back on those days with love. I don't even imagine in my mind that was a dangerous thing. That I was 14. I knew how to drive. Hell, I watched him. I was in the car with him half my life, so I knew how to drive. I was watching him drive. I knew how to drive. I was 14. I knew how to do that, and knew how to work an automobile, well, an automatic at least. So I was fine. Do you see this Alex Trebek thing where he announced that he has pancreatic cancer, stage 4, which is always bad news? But Chris Cuomo, decided he was going to make a big deal of this, but make it political, which is kind of weird because, Trebek is known to be a conservative, or at least, on social media, he has come across as a conservative. And like the left-wing loons out there, they always ID these celebrity conservatives, and so they don't get a word in edgewise, really, or they're not taken seriously normally, or they're disdained or derided somehow. And who's the guy who does the is it Wheel of Fortune? Who's that guy? With what's her face? Oh, Pat Sajak. Yeah. Thank you, Maxie. Yeah, he's a conservative too. But people don't ever listen to him because he doesn't get the time of day from anybody because they're conservative, they're ignored. So anyway, Cuomo goes on to tell us about Trebek's thing. Here you go.
Time that is all about what is keeping us apart. We got tough news today about someone who has always brought America together, literally for decades. I don't care what your race, color, creed, gender, bank account level. You've watched Jeopardy. Since 1984, Alex Trebek... I mean,
it's going pretty well so far because Chris is giving Trebek his due, But there's a but coming somewhere, right?
Has been the smartest guy in our living rooms, teaching us, more importantly, bringing us together. Is a major asset to our culture, not just to the game show. In a time of shallow beliefs and rampant truth abuse in our politics and beyond, every night he makes facts first. We need him now more than ever. So, Mr. Trebek, fight as you have never fought before. Do everything you can, and please know you are respected for all the right reasons by all of us. We are with you, and we wish you well.
So Chris Cuomo is saying that Trebek's value to him is to stay and fight in this crazy world, basically created by President Trump. And so, even though he has no idea that Trebek really actually is a lot more conservative than Cuomo even is, but he makes it out as if Alex Trebek needs to stay alive to fight Donald Trump, not pancreatic cancer. It's so funny taking this from the news media. I mean, it's a little nitpicky, but you could see some of these underlying themes here and how Cuomo managed to tie this into our tumultuous world that essentially, by any stretch of the imagination, is created by Donald Trump and his so-called divisiveness. He winds up dovetailing that into Alex Trebek's need to survive the cancer. And, of course, we all hope that he does, and we are more than sad about that news because it's never really good. Pancreatic cancer is always a devastating thing and hard to get past. The media also there on CNN, Brian Stelter on his Media Matters. I opened the show this morning with all of the things that I thought were true about the left and the media that wind up really not being true. So we blew the whole, immigration's not a problem, more apprehensions than ever. Then we get numbers that 1 million immigrants are going to be flocking across the border in 2019. Trump's an anti-Semite. He's terrible, even though he has Jared, his son-in-law, is Jewish and 2 Jewish grandchildren. No, he's still an anti-Semite. They still haven't been able to prove that. Then it turns around, they have really the anti-Semites are in the Democratic Party, not the Republican one. Then you have the situation regarding the news media. Every time you have the president talking about the media, or anytime you have the president talking about Jim Acosta and how terrible he is, or you have the Sarah Huckabee Sanders not holding press briefings or anything else, they roll out video of dead journalists overseas. This is what's going to become of us if he keeps on attacking Jim Acosta. He's a threat to the fourth estate. He's a totalitarian. He's gonna hurt us. The First Amendment is at stake. I mean, almost every time this happens. And Fox News, of course. I remember when Jim Acosta was called out and lost his press pass, remember? Fox News came out and condemned it, and this was like a journalistic crusade for them, even though Acosta was being way out of line and deserved to lose his credentials. This wasn't a fight that for the First Amendment. This was a guy who was disruptive, and if somebody's sitting there in front of a liquor store, there's no difference, yelling and screaming at a tree. That's what Acosta's behavior was like. So they said, you can't. So anyway, Fox News came out and condemned the Trump administration for being heavy-handed. Now look what's happened, though. Now suddenly the Democratic Party has said the Fox News will no longer or will not be participating in any of the Democrat debates. They will have no involvement in this at all. You'd think, oh, wow, well, that must make all journalists will come together and be one, a unified front on this one. That's terrible for the Democratic Party to say that the Fox News should not be part of their debates because Fox News is too favorable to President Trump or whatever. I think surely even Brian Stelter, who has come to the defense of Jim Acosta and has talked about how President Trump's comments are a threat to the First Amendment and the Fourth Estate and how important it is to our republic, you'd think, okay, well, then I'm going to watch this media show that he does, and I bet you he's going to call President Trump out or call the DNC out for refusing to include the Democrats. He's got to do that, right? Yeah. If you look at the tape, and you see the tape,
reporting in the New Yorker on the inappropriate relationship between President Trump, his administration, and Fox News has led me to conclude that the network is not in a position to host a fair and neutral debate for our candidate.
And as you can see, Brian Stelter's reading the statement from Tom Perez like it's almost his own. You can tell when he's reading it. It's not just he's reading it. He's emphasizing the words and breathing heavily, and he's like really into this.
Therefore, Fox News will not serve as a media partner for the 2020 Democratic primary debates. So that's the statement from the DNC, referring to the reporting in the New Yorker. Fox News has already come out and expressed regret about this decision, saying that they hope the DNC will reconsider. I'm going to call the likelihood of that at 0%. But here's the statement from Bill Salmon, who heads up the DC Bureau.
And you think that Brian Stelter, since he's the defender of the First Amendment and of the Fourth Estate, you'd think he wouldn't put that side comment in like, I would venture to guess that's 0%, like as if he's advocating that position that they not reconsider it. But because it's Fox News and because there are conservatives on Fox News, they're apparently fair game.
We hope the DNC will reconsider its decision to bar Chris Wallace, Brett Baier, and Martha McCallum, all of whom embody the ultimate journalistic integrity and professionalism, from moderating a Democratic presidential debate.
Yeah, that's how crazy the DNC is, and this is just a swipe. This is a gratuitous swipe, because no one, if you watch Brett Baier or you watch Chris Wallace, or even for that matter Martha McCallum, they're probably the most balanced journalists you're going to find, even on any of the networks. In fact, so balanced sometimes that it frustrates many of you who watch Fox News, and you think that it's kind of like when you watch a baseball game and you think that the one announcer favors the other because he happens to compliment a hit that somebody makes, Oh, he's in the tank for the Yankees, that kind of thing. Well, that's what happens sometimes with Chris Wallace or Brett Baier or Martha McCallum. I've heard from many of you like, Chris Wallace, he's a lefty, he's a this, he's that. But the reality is they're journalists. I mean, to me, they're real journalists. I mean, I think they probably have opinions. Wallace does every once in a while, but what do you think if I got him back on? You know what I mean? I should try. I got Judge Napolitano on from Fox. I bet you I can get Wallace on. Although the problem is we're not an affiliate, so they're really cranky about that. That's why I couldn't get Kilmeade on with me. All right, so you'd think that these guys would be outraged over the whole thing. And it's not like Tucker Carlson's moderating the debate or Sean Hannity or Laura Ingraham. These are because they're all opinion people, and they say that they're opinion people. They admit they're opinion people. I mean, remember that guy from CNBC? Harwood. Like, this guy's a dyed-in-the-wool lefty, but he never admits it, and you have to decipher it by his questions and his line of questioning at the last debate. To me, you talk about Chris Wallace or Brett Baier or Martha McCallum, Harwood couldn't shine their shoes, and yet Harwood is considered to be more able to be a moderator than a guy like Chris Wallace or Brett Baier or someone like Martha McCallum.
So that's the statement from Fox. But look, Brianna, if we're realistic about this, it is true Fox has journalists like Brett Baier who do a good job. But every night in prime time, Democrats are dehumanized. They are attacked relentlessly by Fox.
So what am I seeing on CNN, though? I'm seeing Don Lemon call the president a racist pretty much every other night, if not every night. And he's in prime time. We see, what's his balls? Who's the guy who's the Donahue? I can't remember these guys. I don't watch it enough. Well, whoever is late at night, these guys constantly savage the president and constantly call people racists and everything else. I mean, what is Stetler watching?
News primetime hosts. It was always hard for me to imagine a Democratic primary debate taking place in those hours when figures like Nancy Pelosi and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez are constantly demonized and attacked. So the Democratic National Committee now making that official and say...
Now, is it really... I don't even know what Steltler's talking about regarding the demonization of Ocasio-Cortez. When you come up with a Green Deal and it's really stupid, that's not demonizing somebody, is it? I mean, nobody's questioning the heart of Ocasio-Cortez. Nobody's questioning the humanity of Ocasio-Cortez. Nobody's questioning whether or not she's a good person. But she has a really dumb idea. That new Green Deal is a really stupid idea and destructive and damaging. But that's not demonizing somebody. If you disagree with them on policy, that doesn't mean you're demonizing them. So this is really weird coming from a guy who supposedly is the guy who monitors media matters and journalistic issues.
Will have nothing to do with Fox in this primary season.
Yeah, so they're celebrating that over at CNN. When they just got through talking about how Trump's going to get Jim Acosta killed one of these days because, like, somebody yells at Jim Acosta at a Trump rally, it becomes like a major event. Because Jim Acosta will make it so. Somebody yelled at me at an event, by the way, Don. Yeah, you're a hero, Jim, for standing up to those Trump supporters. And it's like, wow. And then they ban Fox from being part of the debates, and it's celebrated. I'm trying to keep score here and trying to help you guys keep score, but it's really hard to. Call the Tammy.com real estate listener line if you want to, 844-855-1380, 844-855-1380. It's Allman in the Morning.
Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
One accident still out there for the tail end of the rush. Northbound 55. It has a right lane blocked before Butler Hill Road. We can see that from the jam cam at Butler Hill. But the crash on 6440 westbound before Lindbergh has been cleared. The delay hasn't, though. You're still backed up from Hampton. 170 southbound Brentwood to 6440. Slight delays there. 270 northbound just slowing Gravois to 44. 6440 eastbound 170 to Big Bend is backed up. And everything else right now looking pretty good. It's easing. Traffic is sponsored by Dell. Dell Small Business Technology Advisors know there's nothing small about your business. That's why they offer one-on-one partnership and reliable business PCs with Intel Core processors to help you get business done. Call 877-BUY-DELL. That's 877-BUY-DELL. I'm Bonnie Green with your St. Louis Metro traffic on 1380 and 105.3 The Answer.
You know, I have to tell you that Michael Reynolds is a longtime friend of mine and also a longtime friend of the All in the Morning brand. And I am a longtime customer of Michael's. In fact, he's done 3 different flooring jobs for me. One of the hardest ones was putting in hardwood in my top level of my 100-plus-year-old home that had to match to the bottom wood. And the stain was perfect. The installation was perfect. And it was just a great wood product. And it would be a really amazing event for you to go ahead and hit him up at michaelsflooringoutlet.com for whether it be your wood flooring or whether it be your carpeting or whether it be your laminates or ceramic tiling. No one's going to beat him in the quality and the price and especially the installation as well. Michael has 4 locations throughout the St. Louis area and he's highly competitive. I sat and talked with him a while back before he rejoined the Allman in the Morning show. And he and I talked about everything from politics to culture to business and everything else. And he is very competitive. I love his passion. You'd think, well, how do people get really passionate about flooring? It's like, well, when you're selling it and you live it and you breathe it and you know it and you love getting excited about the new wood flooring product that really isn't wood, but it's stain-free, dent-free, everything else, that excites you when you're Michael because you're making people happy and beautifying their home. And that's what Michael is all about. Great service, great pricing, and locked down solid installation. I encourage you also to go, and Michael wants me to tell you this, go to Google and just do Michael's Flooring Outlet reviews. And last time I was there, it was yesterday, 4.9 out of a 5 average when it comes to reviews. So take it from the customers themselves. It's Michael's Flooring Outlet all day long. michaelsflooringoutlet.com.
Glock days are back at Danny Dennis Sporting Goods in Fenton, Missouri, March 15th and 16th. Our Glock representative and a Glock armorer will be on site to answer questions or discuss your Glock firearm needs. The first 50 Glock handguns purchased will receive a free Glock range bag during the event. Sight upgrades are available for Glocks, and with a sight purchase, it can be installed on your Glock free of charge. Stop by and take advantage of the huge savings during this event on all Glock firearms, parts, and accessories. Friday and Saturday, March 15th and 16th, Denny Dennis Sporting Goods at 1 Gravois Road in Fenton. Give them a call at 636-349-9447. 636-349-9447. Glock days are back at Denny Dennis Sporting Goods in Fenton, Missouri, March 15th and 16th.
Denny Dennis Sporting Goods in Old Town Fenton is celebrating Glock Days. Like Denny Dennis on Facebook to get in on their specials.
KXFN, St. Louis, K287BY, St. Louis.
Business owners, self-employed, part-time employees, are you struggling to pay your bills because you no longer can afford your health insurance? Hi, it's Mike Gallagher. With Obamacare premiums skyrocketing, higher deductibles, and shrinking networks, let me introduce you to Dryden Camus Insurance Agency as the answer, the solution. Dryden Camus Insurance Agency has non-Obamacare ACA-compliant plans that do not fund abortion. There's no enrollment period, and you don't have to pay for expensive extras like pediatric pediatric dentistry or maternity care. Contact Joyce at Dryden Camus Insurance Agency and start saving up to 60%. Call 877-695-0245. That's 877-695-0245, or just go to kddi-ins.com. Cut through the confusion and save money with Dryden Camus Insurance Agency, serving Missouri and Illinois. This is the answer. This is the solution. Dryden Camus Insurance Agency. Just go to kddi-ins.com.
Allman in the morning on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
Phone calls are welcome. 844-855-1380. That is the Tammy.com real estate listener line. So thank you very much. And Julie is taking me up on my offer to call the line, and I appreciate you listening to the show. How are you, Julie?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing fine, thank you. What's up?
Good. Hey, at first I was steamed about Fox not being able to participate in the Democrat debates, but when you think about it, they will have months of easy questions, patting each other on the back, and their first take at hard questions is going to be probably against Donald Trump whoever survives the Democrat primary, which will probably be Kamala Harris. But anyway, that will be interesting. It might backfire on them.
Yeah, well, you know what, Julie, that's a great point, great analysis there, because I guess technically the more these guys kind of talk in their echo chamber and keep slinging the hash that they're slinging as it relates to policy, the better off I think we are, because we see them for what they are. Chances are good that a Fox News debate might bring out some facts that they're just going to have to deal with that I think will maybe change some minds, but let's just keep them where they need to be. Maybe you have a point there, Julie.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. As the Senate debates the Green New Deal, the biggest disagreement appears to be over exactly what is in the Democratic plan.
Republicans say the bill seeks to turn the country into a socialist state, but Minority Leader Chuck Schumer insists those concerns are way overblown.
They exaggerate. They tell mistruths.
But Senator Mitch McConnell says there's only one green thing about the Green New Deal.
The huge, unprecedented piles of middle-class families' money that Democrats are itching to grab.
McConnell is promising a Senate vote soon on the Green New Deal. Bob Agnew, Capitol Hill.
A former Florida police officer facing up to life in prison after being convicted in the fatal shooting of a black motorist whose car had broken down along an interstate. 41-year-old Newman Raja shot 31-year-old Corey Jones in October of 2015. An American journalist detained in and then deported from Venezuela.
Cody Weddle was freed several hours later and deported back to the U.S., said executives at his Miami-based TV station and union representatives. Weddle had reported from Venezuela for more than 4 years, most recently working as a freelance journalist for ABC affiliate Local 10 News in Miami.
That's correspondent Zaria Shackley. Kay Ivey says it's the worst she's ever seen. The Alabama governor talking about the massive destruction caused by the tornadoes that pummeled Lee County last weekend.
It's truly tragic. There's nothing but splinters left, toothpick size, all broken up, as we talk about the loss of buildings and homes and livelihoods. So this is a horrendous devastation.
The death toll in the small town of Beauregard stands at 23. Heavy losses on Wall Street, the Dow down 232 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
A lot more going on out there. We've got the accident on 270 northbound after Gravois. That one has cleared, but you still have a backup to Tesson Ferry. And the debris that was on 70 westbound after Earth City Expressway, that's been cleared out of the road. 270 eastbound, though, reports of an accident after St. Charles Rock Road. 270 eastbound just slows Lindbergh to 170. 44 eastbound Elm to Laclede Station Road slowing. And 6440 eastbound McKnight to Big Bend, you'll see delays. Westbound Hampton to Laclede Station Road slows too. Traffic is sponsored by Dell. Dell's small business technology advisors know there's nothing small about your business. That's why they offer one-on-one partnership and reliable business PCs with Intel Core processors to help you get business done. Call 877-BY-DELL. That's 877-BY-DELL. I'm Bonnie Green with your St. Louis Metro traffic on 1380 and 105.3 The Answer.
1380 The Answer. Weather.
Today will be cloudy and cold with a little snow becoming mixed with rain with little or no accumulation expected. It'll be breezy in the afternoon, the high 40. Tonight, overcast with a bit of snow and rain at times with little or no accumulation, the low 32. Tomorrow, cloudy and chilly with a high of 45. Tomorrow night, partly to mostly cloudy with a shower in places late, the low 36. I'm Drew Shannon with your St. Louis Metro forecast on 1380 and 105.3 The Answer.
Call the 1380 The Answer listener line and tell us, what do you think?
Thank you for bringing Jamie Allman back. I quit listening to 97.1 the minute they fired him. I appreciate the courage to hire him. He's common sense. He stands for the truth. It's pretty simple, and that's what people really want to hear. And there's more of us out here than people realize. Thank you, and I will be listening every single day.
The 1380 Answer listener line. Call 844-825-1380. It's your turn to speak up.
Here's some great news. If you missed the deadline to sign up for health insurance, or more importantly, if you sign up for a plan that you're just not happy with, you still have a choice. It's called Medi-Share, and Medi-Share is a Christian healthcare sharing program. It's been around for 25 years. They have more than 400,000 members now around the country. And get this, over the years, Medi-Share members have shared more than $2 billion of each other's medical bills, so they could help share your needs too. And best of all, you could save a lot of money with Medi-Share. The typical savings for a family is around $500 a month. Your savings could be more or less, but think about what you could do with that extra money every month. So if you think you're stuck with a high-cost health plan that doesn't have much to offer, think again. You can join Medi-Share anytime, so call them today and check it out. There's no pressure. They're super easy to talk to. 844-41-BIBLE. That's 844-41-BIBLE. 844-41-BIBLE.
Imagine doing one thing that gives you an entirely different perspective about your place in the world. Think it would be worth it? Hi, it's Mike Gallagher, inviting you to join me for a 10-day Stand With Israel tour through the land of Israel in December of 2019. Come with me to get firsthand insight into Israel's fascinating past and promising future. We'll learn about the geopolitical, economic, and spiritual dynamics of one of the most fascinating places on earth. And you'll share experiences that will change how you view the world. Walk the ancient temple steps, touch the Western Wall, sail on the Sea of Galilee, pray on the Mount of Beatitudes. The list goes on. Return home inspired, renewed, and empowered. If you've ever dreamed of seeing Israel, this is your chance. Join me for a life-changing adventure to give you a renewed sense of purpose. The 10-day Stand With Israel Tour, December 2019.
Join Dennis Prager and Mike Gallagher for an unforgettable guided tour through Israel this December 2nd through 11th. Book your trip now at theanswerstl.com. He's back.
Yes, he's back.
Allman in the morning.
Don't adjust your radio.
On 1380 and 105.3, The Answer.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning this morning. Call Tammy.com real estate listener line at 844-855-1380. Yep, this is Allman in the morning, and happy Thursday to all of you. Don't forget, tomorrow, Doug Giles is going to be joining us, and that's going to be a blast. The Warrior and the Wild Man. I don't know whether he's the Warrior or the Wild Man, but he'll be joining us tomorrow, as well as other frivolities. Did you see this picture? I don't know what it is about. The anti-Semitism thing is so weird to me in terms of Israel and in terms of the aggression towards Jewish people in general, but it's very common among foreigners. It's not really very common here, unless you're Ilham Omar, then you stink with it. But generally, anti-Semitism isn't really like a thing in the United States. And I remember they had some toppled graves in these Jewish cemeteries. It turns out it was caused by some black dude angry at his girlfriend. It had nothing to do with Jewish people. But how about in Belgium, where they had this carnival float featuring puppets of these grinning Orthodox Jewish people? You can see it up there on the screen, and it has a rat and money bags. It's in a float. It was in I guess they were having some kind of carnival of some sort. It was a street celebration in the Belgian city of Aalst. And so somebody had a float that was dedicated to mocking Orthodox Jews, which I really don't really understand. Was a rabbi in a Dutch chief rabbi, Benjamin Jacobs, condemned it and said the street celebrations, that float was shocking. It was actually a lot of the caricatures of these individuals came right out of 1939, and we all know what happened then. And people are up in arms. The group known as Vismuel created the two puppets as their 2019 theme for the carnival. And they just prepare floats and dance routines and wander around and do their little thing. They've been participating in this parade for years, and they put all these hyper, realistic puppets, as they call them, so they look like, people. And they were created a display to address rising prices. That's what they said. And they were saying that they titled the work Shabbat Year, which of course is a regular Friday event for the Jewish faith. My friends, I've been to one of their Shabbats. It's actually fun to go to a Shabbat. Anyway, I don't know whether you call it a Shabbat, but I mean, I was able to participate in that with them. So they said everything has become so expensive, there'd be no more money left for next year. So all went quiet until we smartly decided to go for the Shabbat year, and that was so simple. So they were basically blaming, I guess, the Jews in this area for the higher price. I mean, I just don't get all this kind of stuff. So there's two giant puppets, dressed as, you can see they're as Orthodox Jews in pink suits. They have side locks. One of the puppets is grinning while smoking a cigar and extending a hand, presumably to collect money. And then there's the puppet has a white rat on his right shoulder. And both puppets are standing on gold coins and have money bags at their feet. I mean, what more do you need to declare that thing as anti-Semitic? I mean, that's just crazy. This is a great story coming to us from Tucker Carlson last night. I told you a while back that the Facebook folks and the Google folks and the Twitter folks are not going to allow 2016 to happen in 2020. And unfortunately, it's too late because we all the alternative media, we just go around them. It's not a big deal. But to a certain degree, it does have an impact. And it is scary that you have these major tech outlets who are trying to manipulate election outcomes or opinions. And again, I'm kind of on the fence about about this whole idea of regulating or trust busting Google or Facebook or that kind of thing. To me, and I can be convinced otherwise, maybe, but right now Facebook is Facebook because Facebook worked to be Facebook. And Twitter is Twitter because Twitter worked to be Twitter. And Google is Google because Google worked to be Google. There were no seemingly government advantages that they had, and that you compete or you don't. I mean, remember AOL? Is it still around, AOL? America Online? You've got mail. It's like, really? Remember that? You sign in. I'm trying to do that sound, but I can't. I haven't tried.
That was your impersonation of a dial-up?
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I think everybody over 70 still has an Amazon. An AOL account. Pretty sure. My mom and dad, I think, did. So Juno was the one before that, right? Remember
Yeah.
Juno?
Yeah, or Netscape.
Oh my God.
Remember Netscape?
Wow.
Wow, Netscape.
98.
It's cool. Yeah. But those people are failures, man. I mean, AOL should be like the dominant force in the tech world now. I mean, they started it basically, the mail thing and all that stuff, and now suddenly they're behind. It's because they didn't adjust, or I don't know what happened there. And I also don't. So I'm a little on the fence about. I'm a lot more libertarian about this than some other people are, and so I really don't believe that just going in and busting them up under the antitrust laws is something that we ought to be pursuing at this stage of the game. I think, if you want to battle information, you just come up with your own way of battling information. You just come up with a different formulation of conveying information, and sometimes it's going to work, sometimes it's not. I mean, if you look at what we're doing here and you look at what we're expanding with some of the other elements of Radio Free Allman and other things, it's like, well, instead of just sitting there complaining about all these shows, make your own shows. That's how you do it. You're not always as popular as one. But so anyway, but still, it's still something you need to be aware of, that what these guys are doing. So this time, Google decided that they were going to sponsor CPAC, the Conservative Political Action Group. And that just happened. But they had a motive for sponsoring CPAC. And that's because they wanted to try to control the narrative of people who otherwise would be talking about nationalism. So Tucker Carlson broke it down. It's pretty interesting.
Big tech knows a lot about you, in some cases more than you know about yourself. They certainly know where you go and what you eat. They may even know what you think. The only thing it can't control is what your thoughts are, but they're working on that too. In a 2018 phone recording obtained exclusively by this show, Adam Kovacevic, he's Google's head of U.S. public policy, explains to Google employees why the company was a sponsor for CPAC that year. Google sponsored CPAC, he says, because it wouldn't let them push the party toward a more open borders agenda. Listen.
The Republican Party, and I think conservatism generally, is also going through a lot of internal debates about what it should be, right? What should be the sort of position of the party. And I think that's one that we should be involved in, because we, I think, the majority of Googlers would want to steer conservatives and Republicans more towards a message of liberty and freedom and away from the more sort of nationalistic, incendiary comments, nativist comments and things like that.
Now, as noted, Google has more power than any company has ever had. It has the power of its massive data reserves technology. Of course, it has financial power. It's one of the highest market cap companies in history. It also increasingly has political power, though they don't typically admit it in public. Kovacevic did admit it. He said that companies like Google.
Yeah. So anyway, Tucker was focusing on the fact that Google is using its the entirety of its weight and, in fact, its financial resources to try to dictate and own the real estate with that is used by CPAC to convey conservative views. And clearly, money does talk. I mean, I don't know what CPAC's response to their desires to control some of the messaging and to control some of the speeches and who spoke and who didn't. But you'd have to assume, now, I think Tucker's next step, or mine for that matter, would be to find out if indeed Google had an influence then. Because we know what they tried to do. We know what their aim was by that phone recording. We know what they were trying to do. Now the question is, did they do it? Now the question is, okay, so is that why Jimmy Hoff, the Gateway pundit, and other individuals were kind of not included on panels? Or is that why certain people are not? Because what happens is CPAC has not only speakers on the stage, but they also have these kind of breakaway sessions or whatever you call them, where people can go and attend speeches and those kinds of things that are taking place in kind of like side rooms. So you had, Pamela Geller had a forum at one point. But I wonder what kind of influence actually then was had. We know what they tried to do. The next question is, did they do it? Were they successful? And then you got to start looking at these CPAC people who, by the way, a while back weren't big fans of Donald Trump, I'll have you know. CPAC wasn't always really friendly to him at the outset. In fact, I think there was some talk of not inviting him to CPAC one year. Well, I mean, I think it was like 2015 or 2016, not inviting him to CPAC because he wasn't one of them, they thought. So I wonder what kind of influence then Google had in terms of these panel discussions and maybe even, wiping out the Gateway Pundit or what have you from these sessions. And then you got to find out, okay, then who made those decisions, and were they basically then at that point prostituting themselves for Google's money? That'd be the next step. I'm going to find that out, figure that out. And then you're on to something at that point. Because the problem is, it's one thing to have these operations try to do something. It's another thing when our own people let them. That's a different story. That becomes a different situation. I mean, obviously you had that with me in 97.1. It was all about whether or not the company was going to let the left-wing mob control content to the point where they get somebody fired. Because all you need is that one little hole that they can drill into, and they're laying eggs in there. And so they have that going for them, but they're only successful if they're allowed to be successful. So there's a big question. We already know what happened with 97.1. They caved and they let the left-wing mob dictate what was on the air of a radio station they owned, even though the people who were the left-wing mob weren't even listening to the show. They just wanted that voice off. I compared it a while back to somebody who's a Pepsi drinker complaining about the taste of Coke, and then Coke deciding they're going to change their recipe. Oh, yeah, we'll do that right away. Instead of saying, you guys don't even drink Coca-Cola. We're not going to change our recipe. You don't even drink Coke. You drink Pepsi. Why would you want us to change? Well, it's because Pepsi doesn't want the Pepsi drinkers didn't want the competition, so they wanted Coke to change and make it something that it wasn't because they could water down that brand. I'm not going to spend too much time. You guys have heard the story about what happened over at 97.1. But I'm saying is it's not dissimilar to what CPAC might be involved in, where Google comes in and the CPAC operators know that Google has a mission, or maybe they don't, but Google is influencing, because clearly this guy's not saying they want to influence it without trying to. So somewhere along the line, if it depends on whether or not somebody's pliable, and that's what I would really like to know, is whether or not CPAC was so pliable that Google was successful in what is recorded on tape as its mission to influence conservatives and steer them away from what has been an important message for all of us and an important mission for all of us, and that is to bring back this country to its prosperity, its strength, and to make America great again, and to be more nationalistic, and proudly so. So that's the next shoe to drop, is whether or not CPAC acquiesced. CallTammy.com real estate listener line is 844-855-1380. We shall return.
Glock Days are back at Danny Dennis Sporting Goods in Fenton, Missouri, March 15th and 16th. Our Glock representative and a Glock armorer will be on site to answer questions or discuss your Glock firearm needs. The first 50 Glock handguns purchased will receive a free Glock range bag during the event. Sight upgrades are available for Glocks, and with a sight purchase, it can be installed on your Glock free of charge. Stop by and take advantage of the huge savings during this event on all Glock firearms, parts, and accessories. Friday and Saturday, March 15th and 16th, Denny Dennis Sporting Goods at 1 Gravois Road in Fenton. Give them a call at 636-349-9447. 636-349-9447. Glock days are back at Denny Dennis Sporting Goods in Fenton, Missouri, March 15th and 16th.
Denny Dennis Sporting Goods in Old Town Fenton is celebrating Glock Days. Like Denny Dennis on Facebook to get in on their specials.
Matthew Mitchell and the Matthew Mitchell Allstate Agency, 855-QUOTE-ME. Another longtime friend of mine and another longtime supporter of Allman in the Morning is back with me on terrestrial radio after having been with me when we did the Facebook and the stream only. But now we have multiple platforms and multiple ways for Matthew to tell his story about how he is going to make sure that you have low premiums and low deductibles all at the same time when it comes to your home and your auto. And he even does life insurance as well. I want to also let you know a little known secret in the insurance industry is that oftentimes they'll tell you all about their low premiums, but won't tell you about the fact that they have high deductibles. And there's a reason for that, because that's when you make a claim, they don't have to pay as much. That's just kind of the way the game is played. You can hardly blame them for playing it, right? But that's what they do. So Matthew Mitchell and the Allstate Agency, they're plenty of wiggle room attached to what they do because they have a great high portfolio. They're really good at what they do, and people love Allstate, and Allstate has a pretty good reservoir of assets that they can make things easier for you. It's why, for instance, Matthew can give you, your young driver in your family, a better deal than anybody else can. And we all know how expensive it is to insure these youngins when they're driving. And Matthew is not going to be beaten when it comes to the kind of prices, the premiums, deductibles, all that kind of thing that he can do for young drivers. And the home and auto is the same exact way in terms of your auto insurance. And I took my policies to him, and boy, it didn't take long before I just tore them up and went all the way with Matthew Mitchell and the Matthew Mitchell Allstate Agency. I would check it out on the web there, but I would just call him because this is the easiest way to get him. 855-QUOTE-ME. That's 855-QUOTE-ME. It's the Matthew Mitchell Allstate Agency.
People saying to me, Smash, you rock and rolled us here in St. Louis all these years, and now you're back on the radio playing Jesus music? What happened to you? Same thing that happened to Tom Jones. I mean, for him, it's not unusual nowadays to be digging on Jesus music.
I'm going down to the church house.
Yeah, that's Tom Jones, and just like him, we're going to get down too every Sunday, 11 a.m. for the People's Praise Party, where the word is in the music. And it's right here on 1380 a.m. and 105.3 FM, The Answer.
Are you looking for your dream home, but it doesn't seem to exist? You've tried to figure it out on your own, but don't know what step to take next? Don't worry. I'm Tammy, owner of Tammy Mitchell Hines & Company, and my team and I are ready to help ease that stress. My team serves Monroe, St. Clair, and Madison counties in Illinois. So go to calltammy.com to set up your stress-free appointment today. Give me an idea of what you're looking for, and we will do the rest. If you buy or sell a house with me, you can use my moving truck for free. Just go to calltammy.com.
Hi, my name is Scott Ferguson, the Director of Outreach from St. Matthew Church in Belleville, inviting you to worship with us each Sunday. We offer 3 different worship experiences: 8 a.m. traditional, 9:17 modern, and 10:45 blended with our St. Matthew Sanctuary Choir and Orchestra. That's St. Matthew in Belleville. For additional information, visit us at stmatthewumc.org.
You love that smell, that new truck smell, all cleaned up and ready to go.
Did you get your vent visor?
You know, the rain guard that goes over your window? Stop by Custom Car and Truck in O'Fallon, Illinois for free installation and lifetime warranty on vent visors.
How about your bug shield? You don't want to mess up the hood of your new truck with dead bugs. Keep them off the hood with free installation and lifetime warranty bug shield.
See John and the crew off Highway 50 in O'Fallon, Illinois,
or online at customcarandtruck.com.
Allman in the Morning on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
Yes. Good morning this morning. CallTammy.com. Listener lines open. 844-855-1380. You know, I've had my sights set on James Clapper and this John Brennan dude. Those two dudes from the deep state. They're the two big time deep state monsters. They're the big, ugly swamp lizards that crawl out of the swamp and the deep state to appear on MSNBC and CNN. And they were among the people who signed the "We must not have Trump as president," and they've been one of the biggest detractors. And it was John Brennan who insinuated at some point that Donald Trump was a traitor. I mean, these two guys are hugely dangerous, as well as being incompetent. People don't realize that James Clapper and John Brennan were higher-ups in the national security deep state while the Moods was plotting to incinerate people in New York and D.C. People kind of forget that. Brennan, in fact, has a long history of ineptitude, as he was the CIA field commander there at the Khobar in Kenya, at the Khobar Towers, that resulted in multiple deaths of our servicemen, all under Brennan's watch. So people kind of forget that not only are these guys now anti-Trump, never Trump, and attackers and mouthing off every chance they get, they also are highly incompetent deep state dwellers who have blood on their hands. And so it's kind of nice sometimes when Clapper gets his due. And on the other side of this break, I'll tell you how he's getting his due now. As even a Democrat says, dude, you are not telling the truth. I'll bring that to you. And we'll talk about that shooting over a handicapped parking space. And I'll expand on that just a tad for you.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason in Washington. The Democrat-controlled House may finally be ready to vote on a resolution that condemns bigotry and hatred. The vote now expected later today. The measure prompted by anti-Semitic remarks by freshman Democrat Ilhan Omar of Minnesota. A former Florida police officer facing up to life in prison after being convicted today in the fatal shooting of a black motorist whose car had broken down along an interstate. Happened back in October of 2015. Kay Ivey says it's the worst that she's ever seen. The Alabama governor talking about the massive destruction caused by tornadoes at Pounded Lee County last weekend. The death toll in the small town of Beauregard stands at 23. On Wall Street, the Dow down about 273 points. The Nasdaq is off 72. More details at srnnews.com.
Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
Well, a couple of accidents causing some big problems. 55 northbound, a right lane block before Butler Hill with an accident, and 6440 westbound. Your stop and go all the way from McKnight to before Lindbergh, where two left lanes remain blocked with that crash. We can see it from the jam cam at Lindbergh. 270 northbound, just a slight delay. Gravois to 44. We've got brake lights on 6440 eastbound McKnight to Big Bend. Westbound Hampton to Laclede Station Road slows. And midday work continues today 9 to 3 on east and westbound 44 between Shrewsbury and 70. Traffic is sponsored by Dell. Dell Small Business Technology Advisors know there's nothing small about your business. That's why they offer one-on-one partnership and reliable business PCs with Intel Core processors to help you get business done. Call 877-BY-DELL. That's 877-BY-DELL. I'm Bonnie Green with your St. Louis Metro traffic on 1380 and 105.3 The Answer.
1380 The Answer. Weather.
Today will be cloudy and cold with a little snow becoming mixed with rain with little or no accumulation expected. It'll be breezy in the afternoon, the high 40. Tonight, overcast with a bit of snow and rain at times with little or no accumulation, the low 32. Tomorrow, cloudy and chilly with a high of 45. Tomorrow night, partly to mostly cloudy with a shower in places late, the low 36. I'm Drew Shannon with your St. Louis Metro forecast on 1380 and 105.3 The Answer.
Imagine doing one thing that gives you an entirely different perspective about your place in the world. Think it would be worth it? Dennis Prager here, inviting you to join me for a 10-day Stand With Israel tour, a tour through the land of Israel in December 2019. Come with me to get firsthand insight into Israel's fascinating past and promising future. Walk the ancient temple steps, sail on the Sea of Galilee, and so many more unforgettable moments. Return home inspired, renewed, and empowered. If you've ever dreamed of seeing Israel, this is your opportunity. With expert guides and important lectures at key sites, we'll be together in the comfort and safety of luxurious accommodations the whole time. Join me for a life-changing adventure to give you a renewed sense of purpose.
Join Dennis Prager and Mike Gallagher for an unforgettable guided tour through Israel this December 2nd through 11th. Book your trip now at theanswerstl.com. Joe Walsh wants to see a harsh punishment handed down.
Jussie Smollett will have his day in court. He committed a serious crime,
and he ought to face a serious consequence.
He should not get a slap on the wrist, man. He should serve some time. When you think about the waste of manpower and resources, it just chaps me.
The Joe Walsh Radio Program. Weeknights at 8 on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer. Breaking news, stimulating talk. Allman in the Morning on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
To this day, when I hear that song, I see you standing there on that lawn. Discount shades, store-bought tan, flip-flops and cut-off jeans. Somewhere between that setting sun, I'm on fire, I'm born to run. You looked at me,
the TV's on here in the studio, you know, and
I was singing to you, you were singing to me.
and we have one of the local news channels on. And boy, I'll tell you, you watch local morning news, and it's just mayhem after mayhem after mayhem. You see, and it's usually all by helicopter that you see all the mayhem. So you're seeing, you know, car crashes and people getting arrested all by the aerial view. I always try to figure out like what kind of payoff that is for somebody who would be watching that, other than just simply kind of a voyeuristic type of thing where, I mean, it's exciting, I guess, and dramatic, but it doesn't really tell you a whole lot, where you're just kind of, look at this car crash. It's like, yeah, okay. I mean, is it going to delay me, or is that just a car crash? Or look at these guys wandering through the woods as police chase them. You know, and I'm like trying to figure out like what am I supposed to learn from that? Oh, but it's like you'd think that all hell was breaking loose just if you watched local news. You'd go back to bed at that point. Oh, the world is ending. I got it. Jackknife tractor trailer, thugs on the loose, and running through the woods of Jefferson County, and yeah. Although I did watch one piece of video where they were arresting these guys, and the police did a really good job. They were smart. You know, police officers have to be so careful when they've got some guy popping out of the woods and they want him to get down on the ground. But I noticed when looking at this, just as a possible training tape for police officers, that one guy, they made him take his coat off before he went on the ground, which is really a good idea. I'm very impressed sometimes with these law enforcement guys. It's a highly stressful situation. You never know what you're going to get. And then I only saw one guy. I was thinking, oh, that's kind of dicey. Anyway, speaking of mayhem, I'm going to get to this towards the end of the hour. But I want to do the hot poker to James Clapper just for a second here. But because of this shooting at the Target over the handicap spot, it's very disturbing, especially if you're a gun owner and you're a gun carrier like I am. This is not good news if indeed the allegations are true. We don't know whether they are true, and of course the man who was under arrest is innocent before being proven guilty. But I'll talk about that in a second. All right, so let me go back to a couple of years ago, and James Clapper and Brennan are both being interviewed by Diane Sawyer on 60 Minutes. I'm getting to this because Clapper and Brennan are two people who are really, honestly, thorns in the side, not only of this country, but of the president, and have actually undermined him to a very serious degree. I mean, Brennan going so far as to call President Trump or insinuate he's a traitor and that he's committing treason. And when you have two spooks from the deep state mouthing off the way they are, it's very concerning and very scary. And they also know stuff that other people don't know. And they go on TV and talk about it, which is why Brennan lost his security clearance. I'm assuming it's still lost, but he should have. But not only are these guys thorns in the side of President Trump and also deep state lizards, they're also incompetent. They're also people who these were the guys who were heading up in charge of our security when the Mooj was plotting 9/11. You know that, right? These guys are everybody you're seeing now who's complaining about President Trump, they all presided over the murders of thousands of Americans. So they don't have a whole lot to impart on us in terms of credibility. But for whatever reason, they're believed day in and day out, and they're treated like they're brave soldiers. You know how it is you remember when the intelligence agencies all came out these guys all signed a document that didn't want President Trump to be president, opposed him. Brennan and Clapper were among those. And it's like, well, how dare you criticize him? They risked their lives for this country. It's like, well, I don't know. Maybe they did, but they got a lot of people killed too. But people don't talk about that. People don't talk. And I'll give you an indication of just how incompetent, for instance, Clapper was by just going back before I actually go to the present. Let's go back to this interview. At the time, there was a London bomb plot that was exposed. And keep in mind, Clapper's head of the national security. He's head of our spy agencies. Okay? And actually, so at the time of this interview, a London bomb plot had been exposed. And again, keep in mind, Clapper's head of our security apparatus. Okay? Listen.
But we wondered, how did they stay in control with so much information coming in every day? For instance, the afternoon of our interview, the day's news had been filled with the terror arrest, 12 people in London just that morning. But when we asked the director of intelligence...
London, how serious is it? Any implication that it was coming here? Any of the things that they have seen were coming here? Director Clapper.
London? The arrest of the 12 individuals by the British this morning.
Yeah, see, Brennan knew. Clapper didn't. He didn't know anything about it. That's the guy who he was director of intelligence. And Brennan, now who's also, it's Tweedledum and Tweedledummer now on MSNBC, Brennan tried to bail him out. Because Brennan's a dishonest spook as well. Here, watch this. Here, let me just get to him real quickly here.
Director Clapper.
London? The arrest of the 12 individuals by the British this morning.
Yes.
This is something that the British informed us about earlier this morning.
That one.
Later in the interview, I came back to the director. Did he really not know?
I was a little surprised you didn't know about London, Director Clapper.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't.
Yeah, I mean, that's the director of intelligence, and it had been on the news all day long. I mean, Shepard Smith knew more about it than Clapper did by the time this interview took place. This is the guy who's director of intelligence. Now you know how thousands of Americans got killed under their watch. And so what a surprise it is always to see James Clapper out there talk about how terrible the president is. And in fact, you remember a while back, too, when Clapper was asked about whether or not there was any surveillance going on. And he was claiming there really isn't any surveillance going on.
As we engage in this discussion,
it's one channel, is that right?
It's important that our citizens know that the unauthorized disclosure of the details of these programs has been extremely damaging. From my vantage as DNI, these disclosures are threatening our ability to...
Can't hear it very well. Yeah, well, anyway, Clapper was asked directly whether or not the U.S. government spied on Americans, and he lied. Because it turned out that absolutely they do. And absolutely they did. So now, the latest on Clapper is yet another lie. And this was exposed by none other than a Democrat named Ron Wyden, who yesterday came out and said, you know, Clapper claiming he did not purposely lie to Congress when asked about the NSA mass surveillance program in March, that's not true. He said James Clapper needs to stop making excuses for lying to the American people about mass surveillance. And this is even more critical here. To be clear, I sent him the question in advance. I asked him to correct the record afterwards. He chose to let the lie stand. Because what happened is Clapper decided, because he's still being followed around with this lie, and Clapper denied making false statements to Congress when he was asked about it on Tuesday. He said he bungled his answer. This is what he said on the air. He said, I bungled my answer because I did not understand the surveillance program Wyden was quizzing him about. This was when he was interviewed by John Berman, and he said I didn't really know about this. Here, well, let me just grab this here real quickly. Hold on. I get my. I'm trying to get it on here, and it won't do it. Hang on. I'm getting a pop-up. Let's see. Hold on. Skip ad 1, 2, 2. It's a little small.
Director, I want to ask you a question about something that you were intimately involved with in your time as Director of National Intelligence. And it has to do with the NSA surveillance program or metadata collection apparatus. It changed. I mean, it changed in 2015. It went from the fact the U.S. government had to ask the phone companies for some of this metadata, which is essentially who called whom from where domestically. There are reports overnight that CNN has confirmed that this administration has abandoned that program and may very well let it expire when its authorization comes to an end, which is soon. Glenn Greenwald, who's something of a nemesis of yours, who writes for The Intercept and was integral in Edward Snowden's exposure of some of these programs, this is what he wrote overnight. The very first NSA program we revealed from Snowden documents, the mass domestic spying program of Americans' phone records, which James Clapper lied about and Obama insisted was vital to national security.
And of course, he's talking about the fact that lie that Clapper told in the middle of the hearing.
Down. We have you here, so we'd like your reaction to that.
Well, the original thought behind this, and this program was put in place as a direct result of 9/11. And the point was to be able to track quickly a foreign communicant talking to somebody in this country who may have been plotting a terrorist plot, and was put in place during the Bush administration for that reason. I always regarded it as kind of a safeguard or insurance policy so that if the need came up, you'd have this to refer to. An example of that was after the Boston Marathon bombing.
And keep in mind that Clapper, Ron Wyden, the Democrat, who was the one who asked Clapper the question about whether or not the NSA spied on Americans, is watching this interview. He's very curious about what Clapper's saying in response to Glenn Greenwald saying that Clapper was a liar.
There was concern and a suspicion at the time that there may have been a broader intent to attack, particularly in New York City. That turned out not to be the case. So I think the big lesson here was, the need for more transparency. Now, I can't comment on whether, to the extent to which, NSA has actually used this since the USA Freedom Act, which was enacted in 2015 to replace the Patriot Act, 215, was intended to move that to, instead of NSA storing this metadata, it would be stored at the providers, and NSA
Berman wants to ask him whether he lied.
I can't comment on whether or not it's been used or not. At some point, you'd want to have that capability, though, if you ever had another plot involving plotters in the United States with plotters overseas.
One of the things...
There's the comment about the allegation about my lying. I didn't lie. I made a big mistake, and I just simply didn't understand what I was being asked about. I thought of another surveillance program, the Section 702 of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, when I was being asked about Section 215 of the...
So now Wyden's watching this and saying, hang on here, because you could not have possibly misunderstood the question because I gave you the questions beforehand. Like you knew the question I was giving you. I gave you the question before that. So not only did Clapper lie to Congress then, now he's lying to CNN. And Wyden finally came out, and good for him as Democrats keeping people honest here. Good for Wyden to come out and say, dude, I gave you the question ahead of time. There's no way you could possibly have been confused by that. When you were sitting there, you had the question right in front of you. You knew what I was asking about. But, I mean, I'm telling you, these people who are doing and can do still continually a lot of damage to the president and certainly a lot of damage to our ability to defend ourselves, what the president's trying to do, and certainly who have been swamp monsters. And that's one of the reasons why they were so afraid of President Trump. Because President Trump has access to the truth, and Clapper and Brennan, and I think it was the same with Comey and those guys, they did not want him to be able to pop into the vault. Because that's exactly what they were doing. They were spying on everybody. Obama was spying on James Rosen, the journalist. Oh, yeah. Oh, I thought Trump was the one who hated the media. Right, okay. But it was Obama who was spying on the media. Clapper and those guys were all part of that, Brennan and everybody else. So anyway, I'm very satisfied to report to you that James Clapper is still dirty. There you go. Your call-ins are welcome. The Temi.com real estate listener line, 844-855-1380. We come back to talk about the situation that happened in the fight over the parking spot. There are some lessons to be learned for gun owners out of this one, if indeed what we're hearing about the allegations is true. It's Common Sense Radio.
Business owners, self-employed, part-time employees, are you struggling to pay your bills because you no longer can afford your health insurance? Hi, it's Mike Gallagher. With Obamacare premiums skyrocketing, higher deductibles, and shrinking networks, let me introduce you to Dryden Camus Insurance Agency as the answer, the solution. Dryden Camus Insurance Agency has non-Obamacare ACA-compliant plans that do not fund abortion. There's no enrollment period, and you don't have to pay for expensive extras like pediatric dentistry or maternity care. Contact Joyce at Dryden Camus Insurance Agency and start saving up to 60%. Call 877-695-0245. That's 877-695-0245, or just go to kddi-ins.com. Cut through the confusion and save money with Dryden Camus Insurance Agency, serving Missouri and Illinois. This is the answer. This is the solution. Dryden Camus Insurance Agency. Just go to kddi-ins.com.
Really going to be happy to have Michael Proctor in here. He has identified the date as next Wednesday when he's going to install our groovy little James Bond motor-operated shade, which is kind of his thing. He loves these things, and he has installed so many of them for so many listeners to Allman in the Morning. And so I'm really proud to stand for a guy who is a great friend of mine and who has stood with me throughout thick and thin. It's Proctor Drapery, Proctor spelled like Dr. ProctorDrapery.com. And I love hearing stories from him about you and about how much fun you are to work with and how great you are when it comes to new ideas and that kind of thing. And then I love to hear from you about how entertaining Michael is and how vivacious and passionate he is and how he loves to sit there and talk to you as long as you want to talk about politics or anything else, because he's one of us. I'm just letting you know that. So Michael also, aside from being one of us and a good guy, he is also an expert in the field of high-end window treatment. So he competes with some of the big boys out there. He doesn't compete with like Home Depot. He competes with the big boys, and nobody really is going to beat him in any kind of price, quality, workmanship, installation, and variety, and service. He has his mobile design unit. He'll drive right up to your doorstep 7 days a week, and you don't have to go anywhere, and Michael will pop in, and he is your interior designer and beyond. So nobody beats my buddy Michael Proctor. Proctor spelled like Dr. ProctorDrapery.com.
Glock Days are back at Denny Dennis Sporting Goods in Fenton, Missouri, March 15th and 16th. Our Glock representative and a Glock armorer will be on site to answer questions or discuss your Glock firearm needs. The first 50 Glock handguns purchased will receive a free Glock range bag during the event. Sight upgrades are available for Glocks, and with a sight purchase, it can be installed on your Glock free of charge. Stop by and take advantage of the huge savings during this event on all Glock firearms, parts, and accessories. Friday and Saturday, March 15th and 16th, Denny Dennis Sporting Goods at 1 Gravois Road in Fenton. Give them a call at 636-349-9447. 636-349-9447. Glock Days are back at Denny Dennis Sporting Goods in Fenton, Missouri, March 15th and 16th.
Denny Dennis Sporting Goods in Old Town Fenton is celebrating Glock Days. Like Denny Dennis on Facebook to get in on their specials.
KXFN, St. Louis, K287BY, St. Louis.
Smash here, St. Louis, Sundays, 11 a.m. till noon, right here on 1380 and 105.3 The Answer. I'll be bringing you the People's Praise Party. Smash playing Jesus music? Yeah. You talking that stuff too, Smash? Yeah. It's all called Testimony. Sundays, 11 till noon as you're heading to your church's late service, or as you're coming out of early service and heading on over to Cracker Barrel. It's the People's Praise Party, your Sunday morning smash at your service. Here on 1380 and 105.3, The Answer.
Are you ready to sell your house, but you don't know who to trust with a listing? I'm Tammy Mitchell-Hines, and I sell a house every 30 hours in the Metro East. From staging your house to filling out all of the paperwork, my team is here to guide you step by step through the process of selling your house and getting the most value from it. Serving in Monroe, St. Clair, and Madison counties in Illinois. Go to calltammy.com and let us do the work for you. If you buy or sell a house with me, you can use my moving truck for free. Just go to calltammy.com.
Allman in the Morning on 1380 and 105.3 The Answer.
All right, let's get to Brian, who is on the Tammy.com real estate listener line. And Brian, thanks for listening to the show. And what's up with you, my friend?
Yeah, Jamie, something real quick about Clapper and Brennan.
Yeah.
Put a Midwest slant on it a little bit. They just remind me of a couple of big, fat, ancient alligator snapping turtles sitting around with their mouth open all day long. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
That's what alligator snappers do. They just sit there and with their mouth open all day long.
Yeah, you've Disney-fied the scene here, because that's that's when you think about these two guys, either that or those two old Muppet guys in the orchestra section there at the theater. I mean, it's like these guys sit around and just wait for the opportunity to attack the president, and a lot of it's because they want to, I think, defend themselves against the revelation of information about how they acted. I mean, I think if you really dug deep into their operation and how they comported themselves throughout the time that we are all being plotted against by terrorists, it would be very embarrassing to these guys. And so they're protesting too much, as we say, Brian, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
They are living caricatures.
No doubt about it. Well, nicely put, Brian. Thanks for listening to the show, buddy.
All right, man. Catch you tomorrow.
All right, man. Hey, I feel bad. I've been kind of looking at this situation regarding this family. They have a GoFundMe site set up for this individual named Jalen. Oh, I don't have his last name all of a sudden. I don't know why. But anyway, he was the one the Amazon worker who was shot in the back allegedly by this one individual after they got into a tiff over a parking spot, a handicapped parking spot. And obviously it's infuriating if you have a handicap sticker or placard and you need a parking space and you've got people who are parked in the parking space. You pretty much get how revolting that is to park in a handicapped parking space when you're not disabled. And that's infuriating to a lot of people who aren't disabled, but certainly infuriating to people who are. But that's not a death sentence or a reason to shoot anybody. And certainly in this situation, it's very unfortunate. People can get in arguments and reasonable arguments all the time. Unfortunately, what happens is, too, there's this thing now where now everybody tapes everybody now. So they walk up to them with their cameras rolling and their iPhone cameras rolling, and they get in somebody's face, and then they're going to post it on social media. And then you're immediately going to get pushback from somebody who is in that situation. And so what happened is this guy, when he was being videotaped, hit the camera. And, of course, the alleged shooter got angry, and they wound up on the ground. And then the victim, this Jalen guy, he noticed that the alleged assailant had a gun. So he's like, okay, dude, I'm out of here. And started walking away, and the guy shot him in the back. I'm like, dude, really? We gun owners have constantly fought this, first of all, for the right to carry, which I do. But when these guys start to gunsling out there, if indeed these allegations are true, or without feeling threatened, which we don't know all the details, so who knows what happened, but shooting some guy in the back isn't a good indication that you're being threatened, but who knows. But still, for gun owners, we're like, oh no, not another one of these. We'll see if there's any follow-up tomorrow. In the meantime, thank you so much for listening to Allman in the Morning, Common Sense Radio. Have a great rest of your day.
News this hour from Town Hall.